And now, the female perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Salon.
Hi, this is the Female Perspective. I'm Barbie Bonder, LCSW.
Hi, I'm Kathy Whitmire, LMHC.
And I'm Arlene Thielon, a psychotherapist.
And today we are discussing parenting. So we're going to get into all kinds of different things in reference to parenting, and we're also going to discuss some of the different styles of parenting that are out there.
And today marks our first 2-hour show.
Oh, it does. That's
Yes,
right.
It does.
So people
We're
are
in
gonna
for a
they're
while.
gonna-
Let's settle in.
They got a 2-hour ride with us today.
Yes,
They got a
they do.
2-hour ride. So
Okay.
hopefully it'll be a fun ride.
And we missed you last time.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
I felt very missed, especially with the Facebook post that y'all look so
Yeah.
happy without me being here.
No, we
I was
were
wondering,
not.
did I
It's
have a job when I come back?
Just pretend. It was just pretend.
Well, let's start off by explaining, like, is there a such thing as being a perfect parent?
No.
Absolutely
You're
not.
looking at one right over here.
Oh, thank you.
Is there such thing as the perfect parent?
Absolutely not.
No.
I've always said that one way to tell that if your parenting was well, if your daughter end up on a stripper pole or your son wound up doing life in prison.
Well, yeah, those would not be good signs. They're signs of good parenting.
So your parenting skills kind of
suck. Sorry.
But in all honesty, I think I've always said, parents always screw up their children one way or the other. So
definitely.
There's never going to be anybody that is able to do everything totally 100% perfect.
No.
There's always going to be something down the road at some point that you either should have done and didn't do, or did and shouldn't have done, or something along those lines.
Well, it's hard. They don't.
Hugged him too much or not enough.
Exactly.
exactly.
It's that fine line right in the middle there that is really difficult to.
But it's hard, and then they don't come with instruction manuals.
No, they don't.
They don't. Everything else does, but
ding, ding, ding. That's our $1 million
There
idea.
we go. Instruction manuals for babies.
Instruction manual on how to be the perfect parent.
There you go. That's your million dollar
That's it.
venture there.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Maybe we can do an app.
They got an
There
app
we
for that.
Everybody's eyebrows just went up. Ooh, I see dollar bills.
And the other thing is, not only do they not come with instructions, but we also have our own issues from how we were raised.
Right.
And from what happened with us and our parents that we are still trying to learn from, that we still try to overcome, grow from.
Yeah.
So, you try your best to not do that to your children. But for example, I see my mom all the time saying things to me that my grandmother used to say to her
Right.
that she didn't like.
Oh, I say things to my
Mhm.
kids that I'm like, damn it, I said I
then-
would never do that.
And then growing up, you always be like, I'm not going to be like her. I'm going to try my best not to be like her, because I'm going to be a better parent. I'm going to love my child more. I'm going to understand that kids make mistakes. I'm going to understand that, no child is perfect.
Right.
And then, I'm just going to be better. But then you have to think about it. If they wasn't like that, I wouldn't be the perfect person I am today.
right, exactly.
So I need to, raise my child like her.
Yeah.
But then also look at it. Parents are the best scapegoat. They are the best scapegoat. Because like right now, I'm not married. You know why? Because my mom probably didn't show me how to accept a man. Who knows?
Oh,
I could blame anything I want on my mom. Anything. I could blame anything on my dad if I want.
sure. Of course. Your issues with men come from
My
your
dad.
daddy
There you go.
issues.
Daddy issues. Daddy didn't love me enough.
Mm,
Daddy didn't hug me enough.
mhm.
But see, I'm from the old school that I do think that whatever happened in your childhood affects who you are as an adult
To a certain degree.
to a certain
It
degree.
does.
But it
It
does.
It dictates that pattern, that it sets the platform.
Correct.
Or the
Exactly. Yeah,
or the
that's what I always say. The
foundation,
foundation. It always sets the
foundation.
foundation for what happens later on. Either you didn't learn to love yourself. You didn't know, you didn't think you were good enough, or you always had to strive to prove how good you were, and nothing you ever did. And, so then that sometimes translates into you as an adult
Right.
still struggling with not accepting yourself or loving yourself to the degree that you should have.
And that all comes from how, because doing little research for the show was the styles, and we'll get into this later, but the parenting styles
Right.
does, affect your child, like their self-esteem and their actual level of happiness and their ability to do well in school, and all that is affected by how you are raised.
Yeah, and I see it in myself. So I'm not even talking about, people that I see in office or clients or anything like that, although I see it in them as well. But I'm referring to myself and my experience, with my parents, with my mom, and my mom's style of parenting, which here's the thing. I don't blame her for it. I'm not angry at her. I understand that given, like we said, we don't come with instruction manuals.
Right.
So I understand that given the circumstance and where she was at her life, she did the best that she could
Exactly.
for that point. And maybe she didn't have the level of insight
or the tools
or the tools
right, of the
to
knowledge,
also
right.
understand that the things that happened with her mother that affected her in some way, she didn't have the ability to be able to recognize it and stop the cycle, and in
not
a
let it
sense
trickle down to
repeated
you.
it and it in some areas it did trickle down. So I think that's the key thing also, is being able to be aware of those things. You're not going to be the perfect parent, so it's striving for that is just going to be setting
Unrealistic,
yourself
yeah.
up for failure and to be disappointed. But being able to actually look at those things that affected you and having some kind of insight and awareness to be able to make
Exactly.
the decisions to change those things.
Exactly.
And although you're not going to raise a perfect child, but at least do your best to get those key things that they do need to learn put in place, so that the struggle becomes less down the generations, as opposed to either staying the same or becoming more.
Right.
I see a lot of I call it parental guilt. A lot of parents overcompensate in certain areas, and they lack the discipline and the structure that's needed, because every child, I don't care what type of parent you are, every child needs structure.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're not going to come up to you and be like, oh yeah, mom, ground me, or mom, do this. Yeah, I really deserve a beating for this, or a whooping for this, or however you want to, your terminology. I call it ass whoopings, but every child needs that. And from when they start walking, from as soon as they start crawling, because you have to realize the first thing kids do, they go straight to an outlet.
Yeah, or put something in their mouth.
Yeah, and and you have to let them know this is wrong. And kids need to learn consequences from day one. I'm not saying, you shake a 2-month-old, no, you don't breathe this hard.
Don't put your hand in your mouth.
Yeah, you don't do things like that. I can remember the best place you can go is like when you go out to eat, like say go to Cracker Barrel or go to Denny's, and you always have that kid in back of you that's hitting you in the back of the head or hitting the seat,
kicking.
Or hitting the seat, and then you're bouncing the whole time.
Yeah, and you just don't be like the parent. You looking like, okay, are you going to do something?
Or am I?
Yeah.
Well, there was the story in the news this week of the diner owner in Massachusetts.
Yes, exactly.
Who apparently, depending on how you read the story, either screamed in the face of a child or shamed the parents of a child who let that kid scream for 40 minutes. Disturbing other diners and all that. Now, in our family, you get upset like that. Well, then we need to go to the car and talk about something.
Now, see, I'm the type of person I would say something, because I've said something to kids in Walmart. I've said something to kids in Walmart, especially to their parents. I would say something. If I'm like, are you going to do something? This kid's like literally like screaming at you, cursing, and telling you what you're going to do. And you're just sitting there like, well, I'm going to take you home. No, you're going to do something right now in front of me to show this kid that,
Well, but also people nowadays are so scared of DCF and getting involved with Child Protective Services. That,
nowadays, your child even threatens you with like calling 911. Like, had I done that when I was young,
oh my God, I would have.
My dad handed me the phone. He's like, make sure to tell him to send an ambulance.
I wouldn't be sitting here.
Wait, let me ask you something. So you actually had the opportunity, or the thought went across your mind?
No.
If
If I would have even thought about that or even threatened my mother with that, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Listen, if I would have formed my lips. Okay, even I think if the thought probably would have read,
she would have read your mind.
If you had a dream about it, you better wake up and apologize.
You do not know Miss Mary.
Yeah. No, I think I threatened to run away, and I think I did run away. I got as far as like my front door.
I threatened to run away, mind you. She helped me pack my bags, and I started crying. I was like, "What do you mean? This isn't how this isn't how this was supposed to go."
Supposed to beg me to stay, not help me leave.
Sorry.
But it goes back to what it is that you said, which is one of the things is a lot of parents overcompensate, and then you kind of want to give them what you didn't have, and you want to do what wasn't done for you.
Right.
Well, that's parenting in a nutshell. You want to provide a better life for your children than you had, give them more opportunities than you had.
Right. But I'm talking about overcompensating to the point that then it just becomes
Well, then we start opening up the umbrella of where we go off track.
There you go.
And that would be mixing metaphors. But what that would be is the helicopter parenting, absentee parenting, latchkey kids, all the kind of stuff that I'm sure you ladies are going to be
Right.
getting into
Yeah, we will
today.
discuss that a little bit more in depth.
Oh, especially co-parenting. I mean, I think that's
Mhm.
like the hardest thing in the world, to try to set boundaries and structure and discipline your child when you're in
And
two
across
different homes.
different homes,
households.
yes.
When
yeah.
you're in two different households, that has to be the hardest.
Probably
I mean,
is.
that's the one thing that I struggle with, because my son actually has two personalities.
When he's with you and when he's with
Two
dad. Yeah.
personalities.
Well, my kids do that too, though. I'll go pick them up from grandma's, and they'll start the commotion, and she's like, "They've been fine all day. As soon as you walk in, all hell
exactly,
breaks loose."
yes.
And I'm like, "Well, good as mom,
and they're comfortable, and they
Yeah.
know that they could try things and they could do things,
right?
be
And they
more
can get away with
comfortable
more
you,
with
right?
mom than
But this is a great topic. I'm glad. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that want to hear what we have to say about this.
Okay, so let's do you want to start getting into the parenting styles then?
No, because we're getting close to running out of time
Okay.
in our first segment.
Oh,
So
if we need to if we need to talk about some dead time, we could talk about Mom Mary, who was supposed to be in prison because of the abuse that I suffered. But I'm thankful for it. I mean, let me see. I could tell you how a shoe feel. I could tell you how a steak knife feel. I could tell you how an iron feel. I could tell you how a wooden spoon feel. I can tell you how a wooden brush feel. That's the worst.
That's
when
the
you, when you
worst,
get
really?
in,
My mom was
Pressure.
the master of the wooden spoon.
No, I think Mom Mary have you. Trust me.
She could do the Bruce Lee thing where she's twirling like 6 of them at a time. You make a run for it. You're around the corner. You're up the
And it
stairs, and
goes-
she boomerang at you.
Oh, Mom! Yeah, but I mean, the things these kids get away with today, I'm like completely like at awe. I'm like, and I understand the commotion about CHS and you don't want.
no DCM, because that's just a managing agency.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
the big
DCM,
umbrella of Department
right.
of Children and Families.
But
and
parents need to understand that they can discipline their child.
you can. It is
That's the
perfectly
thing.
legal
A lot
in the
of people-
state of
right.
Florida to open hand spank your child. You cannot leave a mark, and you cannot use an object. And preferably in the fleshy parts,
Buttocks
the
area.
butts and the upper thighs. But it is perfectly legal. But nowadays, children either call or anybody's sitting there. I mean, I've told my husband a million times, I'm so glad we do not live in a townhome where we share walls, because sometimes it sounds like my children are being murdered, and they're just playing, or
No,
one is
that's part-
pitching
that's-
a fit, and
no,
I'm
no.
like, I would be in fear of how many people would call going, there's got to be abuse in this house because these children are screaming 24/7.
Listen, that's part of the plan. You scream like Bloody Mary before the first hit comes. Hopefully that softens the blow, or that be the last one. That's part of the plan. You grow up with that mindset.
All right, well, we'll be back and we'll continue our discussion on parenting.
You're listening to The Female Perspective on 247 Miami.tv.
I'm Marisol Patton, and you're listening to 24/7 Miami.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247 Miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247 Miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247 Miami.tv.
This is Wilma Shakespeare
Anger.
and Disaster Chief from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
With encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team.
The men's team,
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
Common, you see one movie, it's called The Wedding Ringer. Hey, I'm Kevin Hart.
And I'm Josh Gad.
And right now we're on 24/7 Miami.
You come on out and you see Wedding Ring.
That's right.
And now back to the female perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Fallon.
Hi, you're listening to The Female Perspective. Today we are actually discussing parenting.
So let's get into the different types of parenting, because I think within each one we can continue.
There's just one thing I want,
yes.
thing that I wanted to ask or kind of get into briefly before we went to break. So we were discussing, the lack of how children relate to their parents nowadays as opposed to like us. And back in the day, I know that if I would even attempt to do something, my mom didn't even have to get to the point of threatening to hit me.
She had that mom 1,000-yard stare.
Yes, she would just look at me, and that
Arlene's demonstrating it right now at me.
No, my mom had the death grip that nobody else could see.
Yes. We had that too. But when she was far away, it was just that look that penetrated like beams of like fire into my skin, and it like I'd start melting, and I would like compose myself real quick. She didn't even have to.
I see you,
child. You know what? She just when she said that, I don't know. You remember the movie V?
Yes.
That came on
TV. Of course.
You remember V? I don't know when she said that. I just remember the lizards looking at somebody.
It was just like that. It was just like that. She would just side eye me, and I was like,
look.
Suddenly, I would like sit a little straighter.
Right. I just stopped saying what I was saying.
Is it me, or did you get more? I got in trouble more in church. It's like I got the look, I got the death grip, I got the pinch, I got everything in church. I don't know why, but it's like I got most of my whoopings like on Sundays.
I don't know.
Well, maybe because you're supposed to like really act a certain way, and any little noise is magnified. I know from experience of taking my own children to church, and I'm getting the stink eye from the little old ladies that are like, "How dare your children make noise?" And I'm like, "She's two. I'm sorry." I'll try to get the child to behave.
But do you think that one of the reasons that that's changed nowadays is because children don't respect their parents?
Yes.
No, I think it's not their children. There's a certain,
No.
I'm talking like little. I'm talking little. Now, my 7-year-old needs, she knows that.
No, I'm getting back to the point where my mom would just look at me a certain way, and I would just compose myself and not even attempt anything. And nowadays, what you see is kind of like we said, like that lack of respect. I mean, even
you said it.
Fear. I don't really know what I mean.
It's a lack of
What is it?
respect for parents, because I'm looking at the same child that the parent is telling me, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this." And then when I ask, "Okay, is this behavior only being shown at home, or is it also being shown at school?" Because if this is a very disrespectful child, I need to see this behavior everywhere.
Right.
But then when you go to school, oh no, she sits there. I let her know. Sometimes she gets off track a little bit, but I let her know. So that lets me know that this teacher has structure in her class.
Okay, so of course it's the parent.
Of course it's the parent.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's a big part of it is a lack of respect towards them. For example, the way children speak to their parents nowadays, the fact that if your parent says something, how kids respond. But then again, it's back to the parent for not setting the limits.
Yes.
Or
early on
with the kids. Exactly.
You can't let a child run wild and then at age 8 be like, well, now you have to behave. And no, that needs to be from the beginning.
Right.
Like
exactly.
said earlier,
and one of the things,
set the limits, set the consequences.
But I think I think the main thing is that lack of respect, which obviously is not the child's fault, because the child is not going to initiate that, but I was reading a while back that part of the reason for that is that people are so much busier now than they used to be.
I can agree with that.
I can see, my mom didn't work. I know my friends' moms. I mean, if
my mom didn't work either.
To find both parents working, it was not as common as now, where we live in a society that you pretty much need a 2-income household.
Right. But back then, what I was reading in the article, which was interesting, was that because we are so busy nowadays, that ability to kind of dedicate that time and all of that is really shrunken to the point, most parents, by the time they pick up their children, they get home, it's probably around 6:30.
Right.
You're tired from working all day. They're tired.
We gotta
they
make
start
dinner,
doing
we gotta do homework.
You're making dinner. Then it's bath time. And then before you know it, it's pretty much bedtime. And that's pretty much your day. So, do you want to get into an argument with your kid at that moment because your kid wants to watch TV, or because your kid
mind you,
wants
and
to,
that's just having a 9 to 5. What about the parents that work the
ding,
later
ding,
shift?
Another $1 million idea.
What is it? You
could
keep putting
bring-
our $1 million ideas out there. I don't even
No,
know.
Yeah,
we
don't
bring
share
somebody.
them.
We
Yeah,
bring
loose lips
somebody.
sink ships. over here.
We'll talk about it during break.
Yeah, let's talk. Keep that on the down low. Come on now. But I was reading that, and that's what's interesting. I think it's come to a point where, as parents, you're tired. Do you really want to get into an argument
Right.
at that point in
No.
time, or do you just let your child watch TV so you can finish dinner? Do you really want to have to leave the supermarket because he's having a tantrum and take him to the car and take him home when today's your only day to do your
Right.
groceries? So it
well,
also
depends.
affects
if I'm
you.
by myself, my kid's gonna keep screaming in that cart. Now we try to do we're
Oh,
gonna
so
step
you're that
out.
parent. You're the parent I'm talking about. That's on the aisle next to me, that with the screaming child, and I'm trying to
I'm gonna
read
try to do my things quickly,
ingredients
but
and
if it's just me with a toddler that's freaking out and I gotta get this because I gotta go and make dinner. Yeah, sorry, other people. But I'm gonna be apologetic as I.
I was like, sorry, sir.
I'm sorry,
miss.
sir.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Excuse me,
I'm-
pardon
I'm
me.
too
Hi,
tired
sorry.
to do this.
Maybe
No.
get a box of
Okay,
cookies
why
and hand
not?
them out. Here's a cookie.
Why not eliminate the behavior right then and there so they know the next time when they go into the grocery store, bam.
Again, then what
Or-
if TCF gets called on me?
Oh, here's
I
another
don't
thing.
want to catch a charge.
I'm talking about Mom Mary, and I pray
Mhm,
for
I know.
God she's not listening right now. I pray for God she's not listening.
She won't get
But
sent
for
the
some
link
reason,
today.
all my sisters always seem to tell her what I'm doing. I used to get a talk.
Before coming
No,
into
it wasn't even a talk. It was a threat for my life. If I ever wanted to see my next birthday, don't ask for nothing when we get in here. Don't say nothing when we get in here. Don't breathe hard when we get in here. So I know when we walked into the store and we went down the candy aisle or the toy aisle or any aisle that I knew that fascinated me,
Right.
and keep it
tunnel
going.
vision.
Grinders.
Tunnel vision.
No, and the stores are mean because they'll put if you look like the Fruity Pebbles and the Dora cereal, they're way
It's all at
down
eye,
here.
Yeah,
kid
so
eye
that they
level.
can
So
see
it's
it.
at their
No,
eye
no, no,
level.
no,
They're
no.
not dummies.
If
No, I
you
know.
Mom, I
have-
want
no,
this.
no,
I want
no.
this. I want this. Guess what's going in the cart? Okay, shut up, kid.
Oh, I put it in the cart and then later stealthily just kind of remove it and put it.
Oh,
Oh, I'll
boy.
put it in the cart
Oh,
to shut
boy.
them up. Oh yeah.
It's the
Oh, boy.
sugar-coated trip to the dentist.
Yeah, but then I don't buy them. Yeah, we'll get them, and they hold it, and then they find something else that's
And
shiny,
you,
and
you
then
put it back on the shelf like in the vegetable aisle. You're that person.
no, I'll give it to the lady, to the cashier. I'm not that bad.
Okay.
I'll just leave it there.
But also going back to parenting, and like I say, we set the limits and we set the boundaries and we set the goals. A lot of times we do things for kids and we don't realize the outcome
Oh,
or the
absolutely.
consequences from it. Like I say, with Mom Mary, I can understand, bill collectors and debt people calling the house. Mommy is not home. Technically, I'm lying.
Right. So
But-
now they're teaching you.
Yeah,
that-
I'm okay to lie now, but I cannot lie when I tell my teacher my mom ain't go over my homework with me,
Right.
or this area right here, or better yet, when we going out to dinner, kids 10 and under eat free. How old are you, Arlene? I'm 9, or I'm 14.
Mhm.
That talk in the car. You will always be whatever the age is. When we read the menu, whatever the age is on the menu, what's wrong? What's the problem?
Please continue.
It's like you're 18 and you're like, I'm 9.
I'm not, whatever the age is on the menu.
So
That's
that
how old
we can
are.
get a free meal from this business. Let's squeeze a little more blood out of that rock. I started off liking Mary.
I know. I was just gonna say I need to meet Miss Mary.
And tell her not to worry. I'll pay. It's okay.
You can have the adult meal.
Let me ask you something. Who was the more disciplinarian in your house? Was it your mom or your dad?
My mom.
My mom.
My mom. So
Well, he's a boy though, so that may not.
Yeah, it was dad.
Yes,
was dad
he's
for you?
Oh yeah.
it was.
But
mom.
he's a boy though. I mean, I would get talks from my dad.
No, I never
But-
had talks from my
I
dad.
never
but my
got talks from
mom was
dad.
usually-
Mom used guilt and still does to this day. Guilt is her best weapon with me. She
think
knows
they all do that.
exactly
Yeah.
what buttons to push
No.
Yeah, I
to
think
get
they all
me to
do that
do
though.
whatever it is she needs.
I think mom may have killed me maybe about 10 times in my life and brought me back and did a little, mouth to mouth here and there. But
I think mother's
But you're a
guilt is
stronger
like a
person.
cloud.
Look
Yeah.
at me. Look at me. I mean, just saying, look at me. This is how I am today, you know?
You know, you're a strong black woman,
There you go. So, you know, you could kill them every now and then.
forged in fire
Yep.
of child abuse.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So you guys were talking to there's different parenting styles.
Yes. All right.
All right. So let's, one is not better than the other, but what's
Well, no. There is one that is
No, there
supposed to
is.
be the ideal
Well, let's
one.
save that
The
one for
ideal.
last then.
Okay.
The one that's ideal.
Well,
What?
we're gonna just list them and then we'll go in there so we don't confuse them. The's authoritarian,
Mhm.
authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved. So
Tell me more about this uninvolved.
And I was gonna say you could
parenting.
you could figure out
The
the
uninvolved.
what the last two
uninvolved.
ones.
That's
This
the-
is that parent that
How can I do that?
How can you do that? No. That's the ones that are
You don't wanna do that.
neglectful. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
you don't want
They're-
to be.
Those are like the two.
So these are like options, like one from column A, one from column B.
No. Basically, see them in like a spectrum, like authoritative.
Yeah, but if there's a way to, it seems like
Authoritarian.
if you're uninvolved, there's so much more time to do other things that you enjoy doing.
Correct, for
So why are
yourself.
you gonna have
Okay.
kids?
Yes,
then?
yes. Time for yourself. Not for
Oh,
your child,
I'm
because your
just-
child will just be
Tell
running
me more
amok.
about it because clearly I'm confused.
You're
Okay.
confused. Okay.
Uninvolved is a good term for like purely neglect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you're not there. It's like you don't care. You don't have a curfew.
So the
No,
worst
well,
case would
now-
be a child who's,
Raising
not-
itself.
basically raising himself,
I mean,
not
you-
being fed, not being
No, no,
clothed.
no, no, no,
bathed.
Yes.
no. They're
No.
being fed.
Yes, no, you're getting confused with permissive. Uninvolved are the ones that are neglectful. They do not meet their child's basic needs and basically expect the children to raise themselves.
Right.
And this tends to come from parents that are suffering from mental health issues, substance abuse issues, because they're just dealing with
They're trying to
their
get
own
themselves
things.
together.
They have no knowledge of what their kids are doing.
So that's the worst
Very
case scenario
few-
of that
yes.
type of parenting. What,
Yes.
but would let's say a latchkey kid, is that another type of, or
Well,
does
that's
that
not
dip its
under
toe
one of
into
the
the pool
parenting.
of?
Yeah, that's not
No.
under the
And that's, I
parenting.
think,
That's
is
a
a
circumstance.
consequence of, having to have two incomes in a household and, little Billy has to come home because we can't afford to pay for aftercare. So here, you're 12 years old, come home, lock the door, make yourself a snack and do homework. That's not,
Yeah, that's more of a
That doesn't really
circumstance
fall-
that
yeah,
falls
exactly.
into your category.
Okay.
yeah, that's
right.
not a style. The uninvolved, hardly any rules or expectations. There's no nurturing, no guidance. There's just no attention. The parent just lacks in giving them attention. And then this is where kids will have issues with self-esteem, poor academic performance, behavior problems, and just their level of happiness is just very low.
They just have the title parent. That's it.
And so somebody that birthed you at
That's
this
it.
point, because
Okay.
Yeah, they're so busy dealing maybe with their mental health issues, substance abuse, or
Right.
whatever it
But
is that's going on in their
dude,
life.
Not that we put this out there, but as your producer, I got to kind of poke and prod you, ladies. In your careers, have you come? Tell me some horror stories.
well, the uninvolved, I see it a lot in dependency.
Especially
when
with
it used to
drugs and
do that.
alcohol.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
the parents
so
that
let's
are.
start with Barbie.
All right.
Barbie, let's hear your horror story. What's the uninvolved parent?
I don't have as much uninvolved parents because in private practice,
And you
people
deal
are there
mainly with
because
adults,
you want
you know?
to be there and you're dealing with adults. But in the past, when I was working with the county and I worked with a lot of sexually abused girls, most of these girls that were sexually molested, their parents' rights were terminated for lack of parenting because the kids were in the system so much, and a lot of the situations that they fell into were
Yeah, but that's
situations.
more abuse, and it's horrible. Don't get me wrong, but that's not so much neglect. Let's go over to Kathy. Kathy,
It is no, it was
It was-
neglect.
yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
sorry, but it was neglect because a lot of the situations were parents that started off as uninvolved parents. The abuse wasn't necessarily in the family home.
oh, but
the
because mom and dad
abuse
weren't
correct.
involved, somebody else. Was
Mom for the most part, most of the cases I saw, mom was outside getting high
or prostituting
was
herself
prostituting
for money,
herself for money to get high. So the child was left alone from a very, very young age, and due to that circumstance, was taken advantage of by other people.
I've seen
And
that
it
too.
ended up getting into situations where, after a certain amount of time, then yes, the parent was terminated as a parent. And you see a lot of these kids that just never really had basic needs met, that never really knew
Mhm.
what it was, to have somebody even care for them, that never really knew what that was. So unfortunately, a
Do you
lot of
think,
it is acting out behaviors as well.
Do you think that a child in that kind of situation would seek out or be more open to the attentions of an adult who's now paying attention to them.
Of course,
Absolutely.
Of course. of
Okay,
course.
so the uninvolved parent, it kind of manifests itself in all sorts of nasty ways.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Anything good about the uninvolved
No,
parenting
no,
style
not at all.
whatsoever?
Not at all.
And I
Nothing at
also want
all.
to also say what it says the lack of knowledge of parenting. You see this mainly with your 14 and 15-year-old
Right.
parents.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like the
Mhm.
young parent that looks at a
a
child,
baby having a baby.
right? Looks at a child as,
Yeah.
as a toy, or a doll that just want to dress them up every day.
Yeah, oh no,
and
it's
lack
this
different-
accessory that I
right,
get to take
right.
around, and then but when it push comes to shove, yeah, when they're little, and
Right.
you
The
put
baby
'em
have
in
on Jordans
in the
and
car
jangles
seat,
and jewelry.
they're
but-
really easy. They sleep all day and they just eat, and they gotta
yeah. I would say lacking their shots, their prenatal shots, and
yeah,
everything.
that's really, or even the ones that do, the babies that are born exposed to
The-
cocaine
right.
and all that. I mean, they just don't care, and it starts even as early as that.
Okay, so you're listening to The Female Perspective. We're discussing parenting, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Female Perspective on 247miami.tv. Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
Hey, I'm Giancarlo Stan, and you're on 24/7 Miami.
This is Wilma Shakespeare, Anger,
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Ring Crash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
with encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team.
The men's team,
and even the juniors.
Ring Crash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
Calor y sabor. Aquí en 24/7 Miami.
And now back to The Female Perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Salon.
Hi, welcome back. So, we have been discussing a little bit of the different styles of parenting. So, we discussed the uninvolved parenting, which is basically your neglectful parent. We're not taking care of the child.
Child's needs are not being met.
Exactly.
We're too busy
With
trying to
our
get
own
stuff
stuff.
to even pay attention to this
Right.
child that we have.
mainly
there.
due to an outside factor associated with that, because nobody really just grows up to be a uninvolved parent.
Right.
No, yeah, exactly. Like it said, sometimes it's due to the parent's own mental health issues and substance abuse and stuff. What's sad is that, does this create a cycle? Like if I'm an uninvolved parent and I have a child,
yeah, that's
and
what I
then-
was just gonna say. Kind of what we discussed previously, right? The foundation for how you were raised. So
Right.
to give an example, if my parents were uninvolved, if they were trying to get themselves together, if I never had that nurture, that
Mhm.
guidance, I never had these essential things that I need, and then as we said, I have somebody that pays attention to me and somebody that's there, and a older male that's suddenly paying attention to me, and I kind of end up pregnant because I want this person to love me and to give me the things that I didn't have. Then am I going to repeat that cycle because technically I never really learned
Right.
what
And you kind of tend to parent the way that you're raised. I mean, I know you said that, you wouldn't be who you are and the parent you are if it wasn't
If
for
Mom Mary.
you
Yep.
know?
But it's true. How do you teach something to your children, especially if you're still a child yourself? Because
Mhm.
assuming 14, 15, and you get caught
Oh,
up in
okay,
this.
yeah.
So how do you teach your child something that you yourself never
don't even know.
learned?
Right.
Or even to flip the switch on that. When you know better, you do better.
Mm.
Like I say, with my mom, it was all physical, violence,
Right.
just a stitch between murder. But as you know better and you learn different things, you try to be a better parent. Because like right now, even with Aiden is 5. He may have got 3, maybe 2 or 3 whoopings in like 5 years. And that was because it was well deserved. But learning, like, I don't know if you ever heard of 1, 2, 3 magic. Never heard that counting?
No.
You know, 1.
Oh yeah, 1.
Oh, yeah.
So let me get to 3, right?
Right, is a book. 1, 2, 3 magic works wonders with him. I bring it. I made copies of it because I use it with my parents a lot.
Okay.
Work wonders. I mean, you could see the fear in his face when I get to
just start.
It's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre, using their own imagination against them.
Absolutely.
Whatever the worst thing you could possibly imagine, that's what awaits me.
That's what happens with 3.
That's abuse.
But you know what it is also? It's I think one of the things that fail parents is the lack of consistency.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? So if we're gonna do the 1, 2, 3 thing and we're gonna do it Tuesday, but Wednesday my soap opera's on, so like listen.
I don't have time to count to 3.
I don't really have time because the commerci's almost over. So you just kind of
you're just gonna get the. I'm just gonna throw something at you.
You don't want to have a 6th grader. You go into middle school and you get to the class like 1, 2, and then the 6th grade. But it only goes to a certain degree. But it's worked wonders.
No. But I agree with what Barbie's saying.
Yeah,
the consistency.
That's one
important.
of the things. Yeah, I see. Like in most of the co-parenting, therapy sessions, is parents not having that consistency. Because either you're too tired or because it's too busy or blah, blah, blah. But, one day you do go ahead and implement all these rules. And then the next day, not so much.
Right.
And then, the other day, yes, you do. So it's kind of like this. Right. It's this confusion and this lack of consistency, consistency is actually what helps build behaviors.
But also self-esteem. That child picks up on the confusion. And uses it
exactly,
and then use it to this advantage.
The example that you used earlier, that you ask some of the parents that you work with, is this aggressive behavior only happening at home or at school? And they know the teacher says that little Billy is perfectly behaved. Why? Because there's structure, there's consistency.
Exactly.
They know that this happens, this, and then we do that, and then if you step in line, you're not gonna go. My daughter's big thing is, I need to behave, because if I don't, like the teacher already tells them, you don't play in the playground. You're going to sit on the bench while you watch all your friends play. And that's such a big deal.
But your daughter understand consequences. What about that child that don't understand consequences or just don't care?
Right.
And I would say when kids don't respect their parents, they don't respect teachers, they don't respect law enforcement, they just don't respect anybody. And a kid that has no respect for nobody is dangerous.
Well, because I believe that comes some sort of
but
disorder,
I also think, I've also seen parents that don't respect children that don't respect their parents, but they respect other people,
right?
Because the structure and the consequences are detailed to them by this person, but maybe mom or dad isn't as consistent. And going back to one of the things that you said, when you have 2 different homes, when your parents are divorced, that's very difficult then for you in your home to have these set structures and these rules in place. And then maybe when they go with the other parent, not so much, and
that's confusing for the child.
And that's confusing for the child. And the child's also going to, let's face it, children are manipulative.
They're born. That's the one thing they're born with.
Learn it from.
They will play up on that.
Oh, they know.
They know
who
to
they can
do
get
that.
away with, and they know what they can do at one house. And
exactly. And the other thing is that so your child is with you, let's say, for a week, and then sees his dad every other weekend. And when he's with you, he was grounded for something that happened. And then, because I see this a lot, in the couples and all that kind of stuff. So he's grounded because he did something really bad, but then it's his weekend to go see dad, and then dad takes him to Disney World.
I hate 50-50 joint custody. I hate it. The new shared parenting that's here in Florida, I hate it. I will be the first one to start a campaign on Facebook about I agree.
I think it's horrible.
Never
for the
mind
child.
the petition. I'll go on Facebook. Don't make me 1, 2.
No. Hashtag.
Get me my laptop.
Hashtag hate shit time sharing. I hate it.
No. I think it's horrible for the child. I think it's the worst thing for the child. There's no consistency.
Have you seen some of the plans that the court has stamped and filed?
Yes.
You drop the child up. You have the child. You take the child to school Monday with their clothes. Mom pick them up Wednesday after school. Stay with mom from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Then go
Sunday.
back
Then they go back here.
It's
every
so
other
bad
Thanksgiving.
for the child.
This child waking up this year. Okay, I don't know
where am I going today?
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder where I'm sleeping today.
I don't know this. I don't know that. And be honest, when you're trying to do, even now, you could be like, okay, we're going to do this next week. 2 days, you done forgot what you said. You done totally forgot as a parent, because you know life happens, things happen,
Right.
and this kid, he's going to remember because he's expecting this. Now, what happened when he thinks this is going to happen, but he has to go to another parent? He's going to be resentful. He might even act out because he know what's supposed to happen. But what can you do? This is what the court say. That's why the first thing I would tell any parents that's fighting custody, come together and do something before the judge do.
Absolutely.
Because I guarantee you, when the judge get involved, nobody wins.
No.
Nobody wins, and that child is going to remember this for a long time. I mean, I hate it. I'll be the first one to tell you right now.
I hate it too. I've heard of
shared
so
custody.
many.
That's like, and you know, if it's that serious that you don't want to pay child support, that you want to go to court and do this, keep your child support. You do not. What you losing a few dollars now, or you're going to mess up this child's mind, but they will make money because you know they're going to come see us for therapists.
Yeah, and also be mindful if you are a parent who has custody with your ex and your child's in different homes. I mean, keep the communication with that person open. Speak to that person about what's happening in your child's life. Co-parent.
Exactly.
Yes, you don't have to like each other. You don't have to hang out with each other, but you did decide to have a child, and now you have a child.
Right.
But
And
things
do
you have
not
to
work out.
communicate.
Right.
But that is so hard. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Of course.
Because when
absolutely.
you're dealing with emotions, and you try to be the better parent. I understand that you want the best for your child, but sometimes things just don't. I mean, I could give you. I'm doing it now.
No, but you don't have. I grew up in that, so you don't even have to tell me that. I
okay.
grew
So
up in
how
that.
was it? How was it?
It was a disaster. It was, but that's why I'm saying, as a parent, I'm not saying anyone's going to do the beautiful, correct thing, because we've said that. But, don't try to win your child's love by being great in your child's eyes and by being your child's friend. Really try to co-parent in an effective way, because if your child's grounded for doing something, and I've seen this in therapy, your child's grounded because he was suspended from school. Dad picks him up on Friday, takes him to Disney World.
No, he should be grounded over
You know what
at
I mean?
dad's as well.
The kid comes back Sunday, and he just just got a treat. I went to Disney World.
And then
I
when the
bought
mom
this, I
try
bought
to
that.
continue to discipline,
Exactly.
who gets the behavior, who gets the attitude,
Mom.
who get the consequences of this behavior.
Exactly.
Mom.
We're going to continue this because I'm telling you, I could talk about this for days.
Well, good thing we have 2 hours. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Female Perspective.
You're listening to 247miami.tv.
This is Wilma Shakespeare
Anger.
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
With encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team.
The men's team,
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
I'm Alexia Chavarria. I'm Marisol Patton, and you're listening to 24/7 Miami.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
Come and you see one movie. It's called The Wedding Ringer.
Hey, I'm Kevin Hart.
And I'm Josh Gad.
And right now we're on 24/7
Miami. Come on out and you see Wedding Ringer.
That's right.
And now, back to The Female Perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Thalan.
Hi, welcome back. This is The Female Perspective. Today we're discussing parenting. I'm Barbie Bonder, LCSW.
I'm Kathy Whitmire, LMHC.
And I'm Arlene Thielon, a psychotherapist.
So we've been discussing, we went off
All
to
kinds of stuff.
parenting and stuff. Let's talk a little bit. We discussed uninvolved
Uninvolved
parenting a couple of segments ago. Let's talk about permissive parenting. We're gonna go backwards. Permissive parents. So
The one thing I can say about permissive parent, this is that parent that wants to be your friend.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And
they
I-
don't
I-
discipline.
I tell people, I tell like, I may be wrong for this, but this is just my views. And like I said, I'm a little old person here. I really do believe there's no such thing as you should be able to tell your parent everything.
Everything. I
You-
agree.
You can't. That's not being a parent.
It's not, and it's not even healthy,
Right.
right.
for either person.
Right.
So every time I hear them, they're like, "Oh, I do this because I just want them to be able to come to me and tell me everything." They should not want to tell you everything. You're a parent. You're supposed to guide them.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to
Discipline them.
direct them. You're supposed to discipline them. You're not supposed to know everything
Right.
as being a parent.
Plus,
But-
as a child, I think you also need that connection with kids your age. I
Right,
think that you need
exactly.
to be able to
Or
have
even a
that
sibling, if you
interaction,
have
or
your
a sibling,
siblings,
or
I'm
someone
gonna
that's
tell my
close to your
sister
age that
things.
you can confide in and share those things with. You know, I don't.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school.
It's
I'm-
not even
you
old
know.
school. I'm just saying. My mom Mom Mary, she killed me. I told you like 10 times. And I just didn't feel right coming to her and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I lost my virginity last night." You know, it just don't sound right. So that's why I had older sisters, I had
Right.
aunties, and I had, this, that, and whatever. But you should not, as a parent, you should not want to know everything, because I cannot have those images in my head.
Right.
I'm reminded of Eugene Levy in the American Pie movies.
Mm.
Son, I want to talk about masturbation.
Yeah.
I want to talk about breasts and vaginas, and the kid's just way uncomfortable.
Right.
And
And-
my dad tried to have that talk with me.
Okay, be honest with you. How many parents really sat down and had that talk with you?
My mom didn't. My
My
mom's
mom
on the
didn't
other
either.
end.
My
of the
dad, my dad did,
My mom didn't.
but I mean, it wasn't from the. It was from very medical. I mean, he went through the whole thing of.
Erection.
That's what sex
and-
said.
No,
was
no.
for.
I mean, he actually like drew a thing like a. Oh yeah. He was very precise. There were diagrams and graphs and all this and
Oh.
statistics.
Oh
And
boy.
It was the most clinical thing. I mean, he took something that would, it's supposed to be, two people melding into one, and souls and love and all. And I mean, he made it. I mean, like it smelled like a hospital.
I just think that as a parent, like I say, a parent is the hardest job. I
ever.
mean, it's and there should be no gray areas. It should.
Oh no,
be,
but there are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It should be
But
black.
again,
and
remember,
white.
with any job, you get training. You get all
Yeah,
this
exactly.
training.
You
and
start
this
your
is
new
what-
job. You're in training
you're in
until you
training for
kind of
2
figure
weeks,
stuff
right.
out.
That's $1 million idea.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
that's it. Sorry.
Okay.
So back
the correct
to
care and feeding of parents.
so back to permissive parents. One of the things is that they're lenient and sometimes only step in when the problem is just so serious that then they kind of need to step
Right.
in and do something. So then my question becomes, if you're only stepping in when it's something serious
That
and you
phone
need
call,
to,
that one phone call from
Right.
jail.
what's your child going to say to you when you haven't really
Right.
stepped in, and then now suddenly you're kind of stepping in?
But
Now-
remember, they're friends, and they, that's
Oh,
the
they-
attitude
oh,
that
okay,
they
okay.
want to have, and then they don't give a lot of consequences because they have this attitude. They're just kids. Kids will be kids. It's okay. Kids are supposed to break windows with baseball bats, and it's okay.
Now, how many of you all had that friend that you always said, "I wish their mom or their parent was my parent,"
Well,
Oh,
because they let you
I think
do
we all-
any and
Yeah.
everything.
but
I mean,
that was
'cause
I
they're like
even
the
saw it. I
best.
even saw it with my cousin. Me and I have a cousin that were very close in age growing up, and my mom and my aunt would take turns. We went to the same school, so it would either be my mom picking us up or my aunt picking us up. And I loved going to my aunt's house because I knew, and we fought like cats and dogs because we were basically like brother and sister. So I knew when we were at my aunt's house, he was going to get in trouble. If we fought, when we were at my house, I would get in trouble. Even though he would start
Right.
it or whatever, it would be my mom would.
Yeah, he was
Discipline
always
me.
starting it, wasn't he? It was always him, wasn't it?
You would know, huh?
No.
So this wasn't, I wasn't that guy. She hasn't married. It's not an ancestral relationship.
I didn't grow up with him. It's okay. But no, but I always I was like, oh no, we're going to your house today. And be like, damn, my mom came and picked us up. I know. get in trouble probably because we fought like cats and
But
dogs.
you always had that friend that you would like hang out with.
Oh,
or, like,
yeah.
when you're
No,
like,
no,
oh my
no.
God, your mom's so cool.
Yeah.
But then I look back at that friend and look at their life and the things that they encountered and went through. And it goes back from their parents being that lenient and that permissive and, this, that, and the other. And, it's always, it's a give or take.
And that's one of the things here, when you are that permissive parent, the children tend to grow up and have academic struggles because since they're so used to having somebody be so permissive, there really is no respect for any type of authority. So those are the kids that we discussed, when they are in school, because, if I don't get this from my mom, I'm not listening to you.
Or better yet,
kind
when
of
you threaten
attitude.
them, like, okay, I'm gonna call your mom. Call them. Here's the number.
Yeah, right.
Be my guest. Wait, I have a cell phone. I'll call it for you.
Exactly.
So it's really no leverage there.
No.
Because you have to have kids have to be afraid of something. I'm a firm believer because as kids, I do believe respect comes from fear. I mean, you respect things that you are like horrified. Like I respect dogs because I'm scared of dogs. I am highly scared of dogs and I respect dogs. If you bring a dog over here, I will sit here nice and perfect like a little princess.
Right. Just
Because
because
I
you don't
do-
want to make any sudden movements
There
that
you
maybe
go.
the
I
dog
res-
will attack you.
There you go.
So part of it is that permissive parents don't stop the bad behaviors.
Exactly.
Like you said, breaking a window, blah, blah, blah. So you don't discipline them for these bad behaviors. Then your child is in a structured environment
There you go.
where there is consequences and, you are expected to act a certain way. And there is someone that's setting these rules. Then you are going to have academic struggles because you're going to be a type of child that's always going to have problems in school because you were just not used to that level of structure.
But is that an excuse? Because you get to a point to where you understand consequences.
Right. But when you do understand consequences, but then my question to you is, what is that cutoff time when that foundation that was built for you is so embedded in you that then you have a hard time being able to make that change? Where's that, you understand what I'm saying? So like, where's that cutoff point where if my life has been like this for X amount of time, and I know that there are certain consequences, but those behaviors are so deeply embedded into me that I might not even like be aware of that. And that's just kind of become like a part of like who I am. So is it really my fault?
Now we blaming parents now. The scapegoat.
Now, at what age does that end? Because I quit doing that at 30.
Blaming mom and dad?
Yeah, all my problems. It's because of dad. It's because of mom.
No,
I
I
stopped at 30.
No,
I
I
was
still
like,
do
no,
that.
I'm
I
a big
still
boy
do
now.
that.
It's on me.
No, I still do
I
that.
still do it too.
I still do it.
I do it.
I'm aware of it. I know I can change it, but I know where it started.
Because you know what? I think that gets the mom Mary. That really gets under
Oh,
her
you tell
skin.
Mom Mary?
Oh,
though?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
no,
It's
I
because
don't.
of you.
Yeah.
No.
No, but see, I call from Homestead and I know she's in Miami and it's always over the phone. Always. But I let her know, oh, it's your fault.
Oh no!
So she's far away. So
Yes.
she doesn't.
Yeah, no, I'm
there's-
still I'm
there's
still
no
scared
test.
to do that. I won't do. I don't say
Oh.
this is because of you. I just
I just
I
think
think it in my. I'm like, oh, you're right.
And then when it's time for me to come up, when it's time for me to come up for family dinner, she'd be like, "Oh, it's still because of me. Oh, I forgot. What happened? What are you talking about? Did I say that really? You know how that amnesia come in?
Right.
Nah, I love you. How much you need? And we all good again.
Another Quaalude and she'll love you in the morning.
So permissive parenting is not as bad as uninvolved. I mean, uninvolved is really like the worst of the
at
worst.
the bottom of
You
the
just
barrel.
you gave birth and weren't nice enough to give up that child to have
Checked right out of the
a good-
parenting department. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now we're talking about permissive parenting. So in your careers, let's hear the horror stories of permissive parenting.
But you
We
know what?
started
I think permissive parent, you wind up being a parent forever. You know how you get to that point to where you never.
Yeah, those are like the 35-year-old people that live still with mom and
you
dad,
know,
and
I think you just be a parent forever. That child never really goes out, and if they go out, they always know they can come back, because I think guilt really sets in after so long. When you look at your
So you're
child,
drawing a correlation between permissive parenting and boomerang children.
you know what? I would say that, yes.
So if
I would say
the
that.
more you do for your kid, the less they learn to do for themselves.
Exactly.
I would say
So
that,
when they
yes.
get out into the real world where people don't love them
Mhm.
and actually expect results out of them, can't
they
handle
have a
that.
hard time.
Let's back to mom and dad's
Right.
house.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree.
I would say that.
agree with
I
that.
agree with that.
And I don't have a degree.
But a lot of this
A lot
is
of
common
when you
sense,
when you
know?
really break this. I mean, come on now. The name of the parenting style is uninvolved.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you break it down, what do you think it is? The parent is.
That one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So,
You know?
but any horror stories from permissive parenting?
Permissive parenting.
An example, if you will, like from real life, an anecdote of a permissive parenting gone.
So I know. Okay,
terribly
so
wrong.
I know somebody that dated somebody who was, the mother was very permissive,
That's the worst type of relationship.
and it was right, and he was old enough already in his 30s, to pretty much be able to do for himself and solve things for himself. But I think that because of that, was still living at home, had everything done. Laundry was still being done. Meals were still being cooked for him.
This is
and
one of
all
those
that.
failure to launch situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I think that looking back, it probably, is a lot of that. It is a lot of that, as we said, being unable to actually develop yourself into being a
Functioning adult in the real world.
in the real world, because mommy's always there to catch you if anything happens and anything, goes wrong, and you never really develop that within
Exactly.
yourself to be able to do all these things. And I'm not even just talking about like living and working. I'm also talking on an emotional development type of thing,
So you see the children of permissive parents as well as permissive parents. You're seeing the adult children of permissive parents are now coming, well, mommy never taught me this or let me do this. And,
being a scapegoat.
I don't know if they're all whiny like I make them sound, but
right.
just one man's opinion here. That's all.
But you bring up a good topic as well. When you have a parent that's a permissive parent, and say she's dating, and she meets suitors and everything, and they just don't like the way you're raising that child. You let that child get away with everything, and then you start a lot of conflict between the two adults.
Right.
Now, what happens then? So now this parent is going to be a single parent forever because she tends or attaches to her child as far as behavior wise.
Or at least until the kid grows up and moves away.
But and then
If they ever do.
if they ever do, and then
If
even
they ever
then,
do.
and even then, the child might also end up being single forever, living with
There you go.
With
mom.
It's been known to happen.
Oh, I've seen
It's
that.
been known to
I've seen
happen
that,
where you have adult children living with their parents
That they've
into
never been
well into the
married.
30s, 40s, never married, never any
Well,
serious
hold on. Whoa,
relationship.
whoa.
You don't-
I'm 40 and never married.
but you don't live at home.
But you don't live with your mom.
Okay, let's just
You're
clarify.
a successful,
You
independent
do
woman.
have a cat.
I just
You do have a cat.
More than one.
Yeah.
More than one.
So,
That's
Just-
another.
But you're
saying.
a successful, independent woman.
I am,
There
and
is
I
that.
support myself. And
there is that. You're
Mhm.
well groomed, beautiful.
Thank you.
And you
Okay,
only
well-
had the one cat.
Well groomed. So what you're trying to
Just
say?
the one. Now if you had like 7,
No, there's not
No,
7. I don't have 7.
But
how
there's
many
not
do you
just-
have?
I have 3.
3. So you got the crazy old lady starter kit.
Pretty much. It's well underway.
Okay. Let me know how that works out for you.
There's a few in the parking lot I can pick up as I get older and just kind of
Can you
complete
be a
it.
permissive? Can you be
They
a
smell
permissive
other
cat
cats
lady?
on you and just kind of follow you.
Yeah.
They do.
That's crazy.
You
Well,
don't live
thank
in
you
a
for being
shoe, do
brave
you?
enough to admit that.
Yeah, it took a
That's
What about the when you have a permissive parent? What type of child? What is the typical behavior of the child of a permissive parent? Like, do you feel do they run? You ever heard like some kids they run their parents? Like you literally could tell your parent no, or you don't want to do anything, or what is like some typical behaviors?
I don't know. I think it could be because if your parent is your friend,
You don't care.
You know,
You're not going to have any
whatever,
rules or
yeah. So you have-
consequences.
no, we just we talk about things, and then I think if mom says something, I'm like, come on, mom,
Come on, it's okay.
we're friends.
Yeah.
Can you watch like I say, I tried watching Scandal.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the very first episodes with my mom, and it was like one of those scenes with the president, and I just did not feel right.
Oh, there's
watching.
yeah, I agree.
You get what I mean?
No,
yeah.
we're there.
Yeah,
We got
okay.
it. We'll discuss that coming up in the next
Yeah,
segment.
please let me know what category
Yeah.
that puts me in.
We'll
No, that puts
discuss
you in
that.
the
Yeah.
normal parenting.
That puts you- yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to watch any.
You're
steamy
listening to
love
the
scenes.
female perspective. We're discussing parenting. Stay tuned.
You're listening to 247miami.tv.
This is Wilma Shakespeare
Anger.
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
With encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby in the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team,
The men's team.
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
Hey, I'm Giancarlo Stan, and you're on 24/7 Miami.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
I'm Alexia Chavarria. I'm Marisol Patton, and you're listening to 24/7 Miami. It's Dirty Laundry with Angie and Barbie.
The first hour was so fun, we just thought we'd have to do it again. You're listening to The Female Perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Thalan.
Hi, this is The Female Perspective. I'm Barbie Bonder, LCSW.
I'm Kathy Whitmire, LMHC.
And I'm Arlene Thalan, psychotherapist.
So welcome to hour 2 of
Hour
our
two.
show on parenting. We did want to throw out our number. If you ever feel that you need to speak with us or have any concerns and want to talk about your parenting styles or maybe some co-parenting issues, if you're having issues with that, we see that a lot. Our number is 786-565-4757. Don't forget that you can also follow us on Facebook at the Female Perspective page and on Twitter. We promise to be a little bit more active on our Twitter page. We will learn so that we can get some of your feedback.
I'm
there.
not volunteering for that. I'm not.
No, you're
volunteering
not?
for
No,
that.
you're not. Okay.
Leave that to the research department.
Okay. All right. We'll try to do that. All right. So we've discussed uninvolved parenting, permissive parenting.
So
Do we
let's get into the doozy.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
then-
authoritarian parenting. Okay.
Okay.
Just as the word sounds.
Authoritarian. My rules.
Control.
The way that I say go.
Control. That's it. It's basically
Right.
control. That's it. This is your military style.
The rules
parent.
are set and you have to follow.
And
This
there's
is
no
I
changing the
said
rules.
so.
None
This is the
whatsoever.
because I
It
said so.
This
That's
is the
it.
one because I said so.
Which is my mom.
Oh, I am going to say I don't think I fall under the authoritarian parenting style, but I do say that. Mommy, why can't, because I said so. Like, just kind of leave me alone at this particular moment. It's not my answer for everything.
And it's also
you
different
know?
because I'm sure it's not what you always
Right,
do.
exactly. It's not
just
my
at a
answer for
certain-
everything, but sometimes it does come out because I said so. Why are we going on?
I remember Mom Mary sitting on the front porch smoking her cigarette, telling me, "You bet not smoke." Why? Because I said so.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Because I said so.
My mom used to have a magnet on the refrigerator, and I still remember it till this day because I'm the mommy. That's why.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And whenever I had a question, she'd just go up to it and point at it.
Just point
and
at
it. That's it. Wouldn't even talk. Just point at it.
Huh.
Yep.
And I was like, all right.
My old man, I'd just walk in the room. I mean, I may not even want to talk to him about anything, but I would just show up. No.
I just wanted to tell you I loved you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Or you're just walking through the room to get to another room.
Right.
As soon as you no. Just head him off at the pass. Was
That's
Dad's
maybe
style.
he was having a bad day. Parents are, they can't have bad days.
We're saying bad decade. It was-
So the parents establish the rules, children will follow them, no exceptions.
There
I mean,
you
this
go.
is your military household. The kids
More
have very
flexibility.
little involvement in problem solving, and this is where it becomes a problem. They can't deal with obstacles and stuff because
No critical thinking,
Yeah,
no
they can't.
nothing, because
They
it's like
can't.
either that's typically black and white. That's it.
exactly
Either I do or
there
I
is
don't.
no
That's
gray
in between.
area. The children will follow every single rule all the time, no exceptions.
And it's not up
So,
for
yeah,
discussion.
you see this in military households. You also see it in deeply fundamentally religious households.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, my mom was neither
Don't
of
question
those.
anything. Don't have your own thoughts.
But then this makes the child more likely to be suspicious and more deviant and once they leave
Rebel.
out, once they get out the house.
Right.
Spartan, I believe, is
this-
the word
this
you're
is-
looking for.
Because I had some friends that stayed down the street from me growing up, and I pray for God they're not listening. But it was a very religious house. So to this day, I still don't know what religion they was associated with, but they didn't have a TV in the house. And they was not allowed to wear shorts.
Okay.
So when they left the house and when they got to school, they would change into shorts that their older sisters and siblings would buy them, aside from the parent. Because I guess as the older siblings got out, they were like, why do we have to be raised like this,
Okay.
when everybody else was?
So mom and dad can feel good about it. They can feel good, like they're protecting you from every evil out there.
I mean, but it
That
didn't work.
that comes with wearing shorts.
And watching TV.
So look at those Muslims. You think don't wear shorts. You can't see anything but a woman's eyes.
And my eyes are sexy.
Well, see, that would probably get your head cut off over there.
Well, look at the camera so they can really see.
There you go. Don't look at me. Look at the camera. Don't make love to me. Make love to the camera.
But I do agree with that because my mother was, so authoritarian in the sense of what the rules were and very extremely strict. I was not allowed to discuss anything. I couldn't have an
Right. You weren't
opinion.
giving a reason why the rules were
There was
It
no
just-
reason for why I couldn't do something. It just was. So I do agree with you. As I got older, my ability to kind of do the things I wanted to do, my lies were so eccentric and they were so imaginable. I had
So
all
well thought
kinds
out.
of like stories and like plans and like
How many movies did
diagrams.
you go see when you were growing up?
A bunch.
It's every movie out there.
A bunch, but it did. And a part of it is I was so scared
Of what the
of
consequences.
what the consequence
because
might be.
well, no, not consequences. Authoritarian parents use punishments
Sorry,
instead
exactly.
of consequences.
Yes,
now,
yes,
what's
yes,
the
yes.
difference?
Yeah. Take the words right out of my
Okay,
mouth.
so let's break it down then. What is a consequence? A consequence is something that you know, when it-
Consequence could be punishment.
right.
But that's a consequence of it. But a consequence is a behavior or an experience that can come.
That's a paddling.
Due to, like, for example, so then this is the rule.
That's
If
a
you don't
paddling.
do this, then you know that you, like you
Right.
said, the teacher, if you don't behave in class,
That's
You
a
don't
the
get to
paddling.
go
consequence is
to-
going to be that you're going to sit on the bench and you're going to watch the kids.
Play instead
Play
of by you, or if you
instead
don't
of
do your
you playing.
homework, you're going to fail and you're going to be held back. Right? Being held back is the consequence of not doing your work.
Yeah, I
And so-
guess.
Yeah, but the parent who may use punishment, it's going to be, I'm going to use this punishment as a motivator
How?
to get you to not fail.
Right.
Right.
That's yeah.
So
So right away you pop up with the how, and then, oh, wait a minute, give it 2
Well, and the
seconds
con-
of thought and
and-
it thinks in, that maybe, SWAT to the behind or removal of privileges or whatever the punishment may happen to be. And in my house, when I was growing up, it's if you didn't get good grades, clearly you were distracted.
Mm.
So let's take the TV. Let's
Right.
take all these other, no phone calls, all this other stuff, so that you've got every time and all the opportunity you need to focus on that which is important. When you can do that, when you can demonstrate to me, your mom, your school, that you can do the things that you need to do, then you can start getting these other things back. Because I assure you, your children will live their entire life and not touch an iPad
Right.
and not be any less of a person
Right.
because
Right.
of it. If they never watched a television show, they wouldn't be any less of a person because it might be a little socially awkward at the water cooler, but
They can't talk
water cooler
Friday.
doesn't determine how your life goes or what you do
Exactly.
or any of this, that, or the other thing.
right.
Okay.
So when it comes to kids, at least, and this is what I took out of my upbringing and I bring to my house, is that yes, there'll be consequences. My job are to let you know that they're there and then to motivate you to not let them happen. If you let them happen, yeah, you're going to have to feel the sting of defeat or whatever it was. You're going to have to suck it up. That's part of growing up. But isn't it better that you not let them feel that because you motivate them to overcome whatever that obstacle is? They're not always going to do it. They're going to fail.
Right.
But you need to motivate and to push them to win, to succeed in whatever that is. They've got to pick that up early, because if they don't get hungry for it as a young person, when they come to adulthood, then they become leeches.
Do you believe in letting your child make mistakes?
Of course.
Well, okay, so
Absolutely.
this goes back to consequences, though. Consequences, remember,
So-
can be good or bad
Right.
because it's something that naturally comes from our actions.
Right.
So punishments are not good. So there's
Unless you're paying for them.
another
That's
show.
another
Thank you very
show.
much. It's not about, yeah, they learn, we learn by consequences. Consequences,
Definitely.
it's what's,
It either
teaches us
reinforces your behavior or right.
hopefully shuts it down, But, and then punishments are, you're going to the court, you're doing this, this is what's going to
It's
happen.
a negative action.
Yeah.
And
So
it's and
whatever
there's
your
no
behavior is,
or
right.
else
That's a paddling.
is what it is. Yeah, I spent a lot of my childhood punished.
Huh.
But I really wasn't a bad
I would
child,
never,
to be honest.
I would not tell.
And to be honest, I wasn't a bad kid because I really wasn't. Compared to what was going on with friends and everybody
Right.
else, I was so deathly afraid that I
Mm.
wasn't, I never acted out in that way. But she was so suspicious of it might happening that then I used to just get punished.
Well, that's a parent's job. I mean, kids are going to get in trouble. It's our job as parents to make it as difficult for them to get away with it as possible.
Right.
Because
if they get away with it easy.
I've got young daughters, right? By the time they become teenagers, I guarantee you there will be thorn bushes planted underneath their windows. Nobody's getting in and out without getting torn up.
Yes, because I would be so scared of my kids stealing signs off the walls in restaurants.
But I think it's important when your child reaches a certain age. I think it's important for you to be able to talk to your child and explain to your child the whys.
Sure, but I don't
of
have to
things.
explain why I put thorn bushes underneath.
No, we're not talking about that. I'm talking in general.
These are the things that you can do that you don't have to discuss with your kid or this, that, or the other
Right.
thing.
Right.
An alarm system in your home that
An
every
alarm
time
system.
a door's opened,
Right.
Right.
that mom and
That's what I
dad,
had.
mom and dad know that somebody's coming and going, so
Right,
there's no
right.
sneaking out.
Right.
You've immediately now they've got to go like Mission Impossible
Right.
Now we can
If they're
install
that smart
cameras outside
to
of
get
the
out of the
house.
house, to crack the alarm code, to do what to get over the thorn bush without getting hurt, without me knowing about it. Damn, all right, kid, have a good time. You earned it.
But do you think you're developing now a very
That's a problem solver right there. That's a doer. That's somebody who sees what they want, sees obstacles, and turns them into
That's
opportunities.
Right. That's right.
I'm thinking
Hell
like Ocean
yeah,
11.
I'll
I'm thinking
take
like
it.
Ocean 11. Now you're just producing the perfect bank robber, that could go overseas and do something.
That's
bank
that's one
robbing.
way to go with it. But I mean, you could also successful attorneys.
Okay, but let me ask you something.
Accountants.
So once they get through all that and they figured out a way to do all this, do you praise them for that? Like, oh my God, if they was
Well,
able
no,
to
of
do
course
this-
not. Inwardly.
Inwardly.
Yeah.
There
The
would
more
still be
difficult you made and that they
consequences.
overcame, they outsmarted you. You got to give respect where respect is due. We've thrown electronics, we've thrown organic deterrents at them. We've did everything we could,
And they still found
and
a
they
way.
found the crack. They Clint Eastwood escaped from Alcatraz. They got out. So yeah, once you catch them, that's the thing. You've caught them. So now everything has
But
to go away.
but let's go back to authoritarian because that's
I'm an authoritarian parent. And I'm telling you how I handle it because we immediately got into the segment.
You
and
really
each
feel
one
like
of
you?
I don't
each
think
one of you
but I don't think you
just
are.
gets the furrowed brow. Look at Arlene right there. You
Yes.
see it right there.
Yes.
She's getting there it is on Barbie. You're confused
because
You're
I
con-
don't see you.
I don't
As
see
being
you
because
like
you're not my
that.
children. I'm not responsible for
seen-
you
but
to
I've
grow
seen
up
you
and stay off the
around.
stripper pole.
But I've seen you around your kids.
And they,
Are you that strict with them? You don't. You just. It is what I say, and this is it. There's
Sometimes he
nothing-
will do. It's because I said so. He does. Do
Right,
it.
but sometimes again,
It's okay.
sometimes is very different.
No,
than
I don't
all
think that
the
he's-
time.
No, what really ends up happening is you keep telling them the same thing over and over and over until you just get fed up with it. We're talking, will I let them make mistakes? Absolutely. I'm not going to let them fall down the stairs so that they learn not to play on the
Right.
stairs. Every time they're on the stairs and not walking up it or walking down it, Dad's right there. Get off the stairs! Stop pulling your sister's hair! That's the job. That's the gig.
But the key thing also here is authoritarian parents may use punishment.
I
you
do.
know, all the time.
Not all the time.
No.
Exactly.
Exactly. So you're
No,
not.
you're not.
I try to control through paranoia and fear.
Okay,
And
but
then-
but
And
again,
it's the fear of letting me down, not
No,
so
they
much
don't
the fear
care
that
right
they're.
now.
Okay,
It's the
but
fear
then
that they're going to lose their iPad and they're not going to be able to watch.
Well, that's what I got.
YouTube.
I used the tools God gave me.
but then that's the thing that let's be very clear in defining authoritarian for everybody who's out there. An authoritarian parent is a parent that has rules, sticks to the rules. There is no negotiating. I'm not explaining to you why they're the
Right.
rules. I'm not
No.
explaining to you, what might happen and why these rules are for
Exactly.
safety.
No.
And
It's
we're not
these are
getting
the
into that.
rules.
This is what it is.
This is what
you don't do what
you
you're
don't
supposed to
ask any
do.
questions.
You're punished.
That's it.
And
No
don't
ifs,
ask me
ands, buts.
why. I'm telling you to not put your hand on just don't put your hand on the stove. That's it.
That's it. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Another parent might say, it's warm. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, this is hot. Step away. You're gonna get burned.
You learn the asking questions.
Now,
and
you
can
know what? Now
develop
you
that.
have me thinking like I'm like a combination now.
Right,
I'm
but that's
seriously like a combination.
and
because
most people
I
are.
will be authoritarian and
Well-
tell them not to do this, but then I will put like bait there.
Okay, well,
and
we're
see if
gonna
they would.
when we come back, we're gonna talk about 10 signs that you may be an authoritarian parent. So then you can decide for yourself if you fall in this category. Stay tuned.
You're listening to The Female Perspective on 247miami.tv.
And you see one movie, it's called The Wedding Ringer.
Hey, I'm Kevin Hart.
And I'm Josh Gad.
And right now we're on 24/7 Miami.
You come on out and you see Wedding Ringer.
That's right.
This is Wilma Shakespeare
Anger.
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
With encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team
The men's team.
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
Calor y sabor. Aquí en 24/7 Miami.
And now, back to The Female Perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Fallon.
Welcome back to The Female Perspective. Today we're discussing parenting. We've gone over some of the styles of parenting, including what uninvolved parent is, which is what it sounds like. Permissive
Uninvolved.
parenting is more
Again,
of your
what it
friend,
sounds like,
what
you
it
do
sounds
whatever
like.
you want. I'm not going to give you any rules or consequences or anything.
We're friends.
Yes, we're friends, and that's it.
And then now we're into authoritarian parenting. So we've discussed how the rules are established by authoritarian parents, how it is that these type of parents don't really let you negotiate, problem solve. You don't really learn how to deal with certain obstacles when they come up. It just kind of is what it is, and these are the rules, and they're established, and you're expected to follow them at all times. And because of that, a lot of the children who grow up with authoritarian parents tend to follow rules a lot of the time. So they are
Mhm.
not the type of acting out in school
Right.
and that kind of child, because they are so used to rules that they stick to the rules and follow them.
Maybe they're afraid of the punishments.
Right.
You
They're-
know, so it's like, I'm just not even going to step a toe out of line because
Right.
I don't know
I
what's going
just
to happen.
walk down
You know,
that straight line.
I'm going to.
But I may develop some type of self-esteem
Mhm.
issues because I didn't learn how to problem solve, because I haven't been able to develop that part of myself to being able to work with challenges and obstacles.
Right.
As a result, then I don't really trust my ability to make certain decisions. I'm not very comfortable with myself. Someone's done that for me, so I never really developed that ability within myself
And
to
which is going to definitely affect them in future relationships.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it affects your self-esteem. You don't think highly of yourself, you don't value yourself, that part of you, your personality has not really been developed as a result. Previously we were talking about punishment and consequences.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about what the difference is between punishments and consequences.
Okay, so basically punishments are saying to your child, you better think like me, or else if you don't, I will make you pay or suffer, etc., until you make the choice I want you to make. It doesn't really respect the child's ability to make the decision. And even if it's a bad one,
You
it's-
couldn't see my eye roll.
No, I saw it,
Off
but
camera.
I know I saw it, but I
Off
chose to
camera.
ignore it.
They're
choose to
children.
Well, no, but we're not talking about
No, but see, no,
little children.
we're not
you
talking
know?
about little children. We're talking about a child that already is developing that part of their brain where they have the
Right.
ability to reason,
Exactly.
where they are able to understand certain things. It's important for you to develop in your child the understanding of why certain things are, because if you don't, then when your child gets to a certain age and they're older,
Well, I hear you. How many times do you need to explain that?
we're
Every single time. Don't play on the stairs, because if you play on the stairs, you're probably going to
but that's
fall. You
okay.
might fall.
But this
but
isn't
that's not-
but that's not what this is referring to.
No.
This is referring to rules
Discipline
and discipline and
styles, you know.
discipline styles.
Okay,
This
so
isn't about
don't fool around on the stairs. That's a
All
good
right,
rule.
but consequences will communicate to the child that their behavior is their own responsibility. That this is what's
So we need to let the kid break a bone. You need to let the snake bite you
Okay,
to know
no,
that
we're
it's
not-
dangerous.
okay. Are you on our side or not? What
It's
exactly
not-
is
no,
going
I'm
on?
not on anybody's side.
But technically,
I'm here to
I
play
think,
devil's advocate to you, ladies.
but he has a valid point, because I really do think some kids are.
Well,
I don't
and
know if the
also it
term is like
depends, you know.
hard-headed.
Oh, okay, let's not, I'm gonna let him
Listen,
play in
I'm not-
traffic.
I'm also
so-
not saying right. It's also not that every single rule that you
Right.
set is going to be where we sit down at a conference
Right.
table and have a discussion as to why it is that these rules are in place and why it, and what you have a choice, and if you want to run out in traffic, and if you want
Right,
to do
right.
it's not that. Like, let's be realistic with what it is that we are discussing
As far as safety,
as far
you
as
know.
safety and certain things that are going to affect your child as far as an accident
Right.
or in some type of health hazard way,
Okay,
or if
let's
it's
back the
unavailable
truck
to
up.
develop
Bedtime is 8:00.
correct.
Right, and you explain for the first 150 days why bedtime is at 8:00, because
No.
you got to get up in the morning and all
No,
this.
I
that,
would let them stay up to as long as they want. When it's time to get up for school, they will get up. I don't care if it's on an hour's sleep. You're going to get up and perform everything like you're supposed to, and let you see how it
Well,
feels.
isn't that another
to be
type of
tired.
authoritarian parent?
No, that's not a
No.
no. That's
So you
not
let them make the
authoritarian.
mistake,
Yeah.
knowing
Yeah,
that
they will know the consequence
They
the
will know the
next
consequences,
day.
right.
That is
You
the
know?
difference between learning the consequences and just strictly, punishing. Like, let's be honest. When you look at your life and you look at the mistakes that you have made, were most of the mistakes that you made not things that you experienced and learned the consequence of?
And you learn from that consequence. Trust me.
For
No,
example-
in my personal life, usually when I make a mistake, there's either alcohol involved.
Exactly, but that's where I was
a
going.
consequence.
That's a consequence. So
It's it's here, hold my beer.
exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
exactly. So that's exactly what I was thinking about. You have to go to work the next day, but there's a really great party going on, and you go to the party, and although but you really want
Yeah, but
to,
once I figured out on my own that,
and that's the point, and that's the
but I
point
didn't
of
figure
this.
that out until I got into my 30s.
But there's no age limit about this. We're just talking about in general. We're not even
Okay, so again, once
As far as,
until
you
the
know-
child is out of the house, isn't it my job to kind of keep them between the navigational beacons?
So
Yes,
you're
but
going
you
to
also
continue.
want them
So
to
your
think
child
for
is 16. You're going to
themselves.
tell them over and over, don't play on the stairs at 16.
It is your job as a parent to set the
I think
foundation.
at 16, at that point, I would like to think that, I've been telling you for 16 years not to play on the stairs.
You know what? And our kids,
You're going to have to break your leg. I guess
But
you're going to
that's-
have to.
right, and
they've
that's
fallen down
exactly-
the stairs, and then Faith fell down the stairs
Now,
yesterday.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. Wait, no, here's the problem. Now you've been doing this all this time, and you've been telling them don't play on the stairs because you're gonna fall. You're gonna break your leg. You're gonna break your leg. They fall down the stairs and their leg don't break. Oh my God! Now
That's it. You're never coming back from that one, mom and dad.
See, no, but they
Yeah,
do
they may
need
fall.
to
They may
learn-
not break their leg, but it's not
You
going
know
to be a
what?
pleasant experience.
You know what?
Remember
Though,
the
but
Christmas
it's
story.
You're lucky.
Wait, the
You're
Christmas
lucky
story.
this time
Oh,
you didn't
yeah.
break your
But
leg.
it's
Next
fine.
time with the gun, with the gun, you're gonna shoot yourself in the eye.
Oh, you'll shoot your eye out.
You're gonna
kid.
shoot yourself in the eye.
And everybody who's ever owned a BB gun has shot themselves or been shot by a cousin or a brother or a
and
neighbor
they,
or
and
something
they
like
live
that.
they live to tell
My
about
cousin
it.
Derek, God love him, shot me in the ass with a BB gun.
Why do all these
And on
stories
that
involve
same
you
day-
and Derek?
Your parents bought y'all BB guns?
Oh yeah,
No, I
I
wasn't
had a-
allowed to.
Oh,
I
have
had
it.
a-
him.
That's the
I had a
difference.
22 rifle when I was 14 years old.
See, and that's the difference between you and I.
Oh, you're making this a thing about race?
Yes.
No, it's a
because
thing about sex. I think it's
That's like a
more
boy
towards
thing.
boy
But then
and
it's-
girl.
It's
Even my
geographical
brothers,
as well.
Like,
I
really,
didn't grow up in
Who
a
was going to
city.
buy me a rifle?
my parents would dare buy my brother a gun.
I didn't
But
grow up in
also,
the city.
He didn't grow up in the city. This was out
My
that he'd play
backyard
in
was a
woods.
national forest.
So
that was my backyard. I mean, it wasn't really my backyard, but the neighbor's backyard, and there was a little path that went up there, and then it was just nothing but forest for miles and miles and miles. So yeah.
Okay, I just need to
You
know.
don't go into the woods without a gun.
How do it feel to get shot with a BB gun?
It's not pleasant. It is not pleasant. It's even worse. I shot myself in the thumb.
Oh,
I'm holding the gun like this and playing around with it like an idiot with my thumb over the top of the barrel, and I pull the trigger, end up whacking myself
now,
in the thumb.
did you ever do that again?
Never again.
Exactly.
Consequence of your actions.
And
Thank you.
Once I got that, that's when I got the real gun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk. Arlene was saying before the break that she felt that she was an authoritarian parent. So these are 10 characteristics that they tend to display. You have little patience for misbehavior.
Yes.
They don't want to waste energy explaining why something isn't a good choice, and that they're really not likely to
And it
spend any
goes back
time
to
discussing
being-
your feelings about it. When they break the rule, you say you should know better, and there's no discussion.
Ping. Yes, checking that one off.
Okay,
Yes.
they're checking that one off.
Okay.
You try hard to control your child's behavior.
Yes, at this age, yes.
Well, okay, but depends also on the age. We're not talking a 2-year-old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
No, not really.
Yes. I control his behavior at
Rather
2,
than
yes.
teach children to control themselves, authoritarian parents exert their control. They have fewer choices and fewer opportunities to practice self-discipline. The focus is on obeying the
Because you see
rules.
kids doing that all the time.
But as you get
Mom,
older,
let's go to the
though-
mall. I want to go down to the self-discipline store.
No,
Yeah,
but like
all
I
the
think-
time.
but you also have so again, let's be realistic
Let's
and
do it the
focus on the
bedtime.
age.
You know.
If
If you have,
a
if you have
power.
to go to,
I can say
you have
from
a
my
test tomorrow.
So reading this and knowing also about this, I know that my mom was authoritarian, and I can tell you that pretty much throughout my whole entire childhood, it didn't really matter what age I was. She had little patience for misbehavior, and she always tried to control my behavior.
Right.
Doesn't matter if I was 5, if I was
Right.
10, if I was 14, 15, 16.
The
It
day
just is
before
how
your
it was.
18th birthday, yes, I'm trying to
40.
tell you what to do.
I'm 40, and she still
Tries to control your behavior.
tries to control my behavior, and I don't live at home.
Now, number 3, I would say no.
Okay, you try to shame your child into behaving.
No.
Authoritarian
No.
I would not
parents
do that.
are
That's a
very
big part.
critical.
Right.
wouldn't-
That's
see,
a
I
very
wouldn't do
big
that.
part of authoritarian
Now,
parents.
I do believe where you display that behavior is where you get that consequence. So if we're in Walmart and you're acting a donkey, yes, I will right then and there.
Okay, but there's a
Well, yeah,
difference.
but there's
no,
no.
this is the thing.
But
guys,
I'm
we're
not
mixing,
finna shame.
right.
Yeah, I'm not finna.
There's a big
purposely
difference
go out
between
and-
exerting the rules and giving you your consequence, which does have to be handled at that precise
Right.
moment. I'm not going to punish you 3 days later for something you
Right,
did, because
yeah.
as we know, the attention span
Right.
isn't even there. But there's a big difference between that and shaming your child, so that your child behaves, so that you say something to them that affects them. You aren't a good listener. How many times, anything like that makes your child act a certain way because you're shaming
Right.
them is very different than using consequences
Okay, so I gotta
or
do-
anything
I'm
like
gonna X
that.
that one out.
So you're
And
not
this
that.
is part of the reason why your child then grows up to have self-esteem
Issues,
problems,
right.
because you're raising your child from a place of shame,
right.
from a place of not trusting themselves, not believing themselves, to be able to do certain things that they might be able to do had you developed that.
Right.
Number 4, you don't
Yes.
hesitate to use corporal punishment. Spanking is used liberally in authoritarian households. They may use other forms of corporal punishment, like do push-ups or manual labor, as consequences for misbehaviors. So yes, you spank.
Was used on me. I do spank occasionally when it's called for.
I don't spank as much. My mom did it like on a weekly
See,
ritual.
I didn't get spanked.
What the what?
I mean,
No.
no, I didn't get spanked. Maybe as young, I'm sure over the diaper, a little swat,
How
But-
old were you the last time you got a physical punishment from your parent? 16.
No.
Probably somewhere like 17, 18.
Mhm.
I used to
16
have
for
my
me.
hair pulled. I used to get my
16.
ears
No, I would get
pulled.
the looks and the talk.
No, I'm like,
No, no,
you
no.
got a
I
physical
got physical.
response from your
No,
parents.
no.
16.
Yeah, probably I was well into my teens.
No, not
I got
for me.
slapped into the refrigerator because I called my mom an itch.
Well, you had that coming.
You're listening to The Female Perspective. We're discussing parenting. Stay tuned.
You're listening to 247 Miami.tv.
Hey, Hey, I'm John Carlos Stan, and you're on 24/7 Miami.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
Calor y sabor. Aquí en 24/7 Miami.
This is Wilma Shakespeare, Anger,
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
with encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team,
The men's team,
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
I'm Alexia Chavarria. I'm Marisol Patton, and you're listening to 24/7 Miami. It is Dirty Laundry with Angie and Barbie.
And now, back to the female perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Thalon.
You're listening to The Female Perspective. This is Barbie Bonder, LCSW.
Kathy Whitmire, LMHC.
And I'm Arlene Thalon,
All right.
psychotherapist.
Oh, sorry.
No
Didn't mean to
problem.
cut you off. So right before the break, we were talking about the 10 signs that you may be an authoritarian parent. We were talking about corporal punishment, and you said you
No,
click on that one.
no, scratch that one out.
You do or you do not?
I don't.
You don't. Okay,
Not-
so we
not
got
to that,
two.
right.
Which
then.
is interesting because you don't, but
Right.
we're raised
Because she
in
did.
that.
though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know. Number 5, you don't believe in exceptions to the rules. There's no negotiating. There's no vote. The child has no vote, and this is where we said earlier, like no gray area. It's all
Mm-mm.
either black or white.
That is me. Yes.
Rules are not up for discussion. Bedtime is 8 o'clock. I don't care that it's a Friday. I don't care that we're on vacation. I don't care that it's summer.
I don't care that
It
you
is-
don't feel good. I don't care
Right.
that you're sick.
It's 8 o'clock because that's what I say, and no ifs, ands, or
Because
buts.
I know kids need routine and need to stick to this routine whenever. And when they deviate from that routine, it's real hard to get them back to come.
Now, I doing my reading when I became a new mom and stuff. And yes, everything is routine and structure because it helps the child with their self-esteem. Now, I will kind of follow a routine, but I'm not a stickler with time. Like, it's not like, okay, we need to be sitting at 6:15 at the table because at 6:45 we need to be getting in our PJs so that, no, but we do kind of do the order, the same kind
Right.
of order and flow of things, but
Not
times
that. Not that.
because
stickler for-
sometimes, hey, maybe there was traffic and I didn't get home until 6 o'clock. So dinner won't be on the table until 6:45,
Right.
So I try to do that because, yes, it
so
does.
structures. I think the structure part is the important part.
Right.
But let's be honest, on the time basis, kids really
You
don't
can't.
understand
Concept of
time too much.
And also it helps for kids to know what's coming.
Next.
They kind of, if they have like a bedtime routine, for instance, they know, okay, well, this is the time that I got to start winding down. Like, that doesn't mean they're not going to try to act, like fools and run around crazy for half
That's
an hour.
exactly what they do. I've never ever met a child that's like, you know what, about an hour and a half to bedtime. I should
I should start getting
I
ready.
should not start bouncing off the walls right now.
Let me start getting ready.
That would be a bad idea. Every child I've ever met, it's oh, you got hour to bedtime. What? Only an hour? Go, everybody, get all the toys out. We gotta go nuts.
See, but the only thing they hear is bedtime. They don't realize
Right.
that hour before.
And then
hopefully-
remember, an hour
The
is
day is over.
But they don't. To them, an hour is 5
Yeah,
minutes.
like
it's
sometimes you
5
tell your kid we're
hours.
going in 5 minutes, and they come to
That-
you every 30 seconds. They're like, "Is it
They
time?"
have-
Yeah. Is it time? Are we there yet?
So, question for you then: if you don't have exceptions to the rules, and one of your rules is no lying, and then someone calls, and then mom tells you to tell them I'm not here.
Right.
Now, what happens there?
You
For the-
revert back to rule number 1, which is do what I
Just
say.
say, there you go. Pretty much so, because I
Yep.
said so.
Was that sound so? You're
So you're trying to negotiate, and it's no happening.
No, not necessarily negotiating. I really want to understand because
No,
then why?
I'm there with you. You shouldn't have your kid lying to bill collectors
Exactly.
or anything like that. I mean, get your ish together. Come
Like
on,
I
really.
remember my mom used to tell me, like if we had like she was going to a friend's house or she had plans to do something, and then suddenly she would be like, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. We're not gonna make it. And then I was like, you look fine to me.
You want to go shopping?
You look fine to me.
Let me show you how much control my mom have in my house to this day.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
No, let me show you how much control she have in there. Let me show you. Even in my phone today, as a, I'm not going to announce my age over the phone, but even right now, look, what has my mom's number in my phone?
Mom Mary, Mom Mary, Mom Mary.
Mom Mary House.
Mom Mary House.
Even though it's her and my dad paid the mortgage, my dad do all the bills and everything. Guess what? It is Ma Mary House.
That's right.
It is.
Rules with an iron fist and a velvet glove.
There you go.
So authoritarian parents, they rather use punishment than positive reinforcement.
They don't believe in rewarding kids for good behaviors.
But they would do when negative behavior.
Oh yeah, they'll
definitely.
be. They will definitely.
They-
you
won't
dole
show
out
up.
that
You won't
consequence.
show up for the kids' award service, but you're right there when the teacher called for them misbehaving.
Right.
You can't take off.
You asked him to get good grades. You asked him to do good in school. Your child does
This
good
goes
in
with
school.
the you don't get a cookie for doing the right
What
thing.
you're supposed to
School
do.
School of thought.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I'm
now
not gonna
there's
reward you for something else.
now there's a big difference because here's then where I go on the fence with everyone gets a ribbon for participating.
Right. And that's different though.
That's
mediocrity holds sway.
Yeah.
Right. But you tell your child that you're expected to do this, you're expected to do that. Your child does it and you don't even praise them.
Right.
You don't even it's not like you have to go out and buy your child something either.
Okay,
Right.
but
Hey, good job on the
Are
straight
are
A's.
you being rewarded for breathing every day?
You're really comparing
I'm
breathing
just
to getting
saying,
good grades.
are you rewarded?
We're really going there.
Are you rewarded for that? I'm just saying, is that something that you just naturally do or you're supposed to do in order to live?
No.
Yeah, but going to school and getting
Going to
good
school
grades
and
is
getting
not a
good
thing
grades
that you
does
need
not
to do to
require
live.
for you to live. However,
No, they got you there.
Physically live and
Physically live.
Look at anywhere
life.
that's not America, not a first world country. There's all sorts of kids that,
Okay.
that
But
live a
let's-
full
okay, but
life
let's be
without ever
honest.
seeing the inside of a school.
what it breaks down to is this: if I say to you, I want you to get good grades, I want you to this, and then you get it, am I gonna pretend like you didn't do nothing, or
You're
Am
talking
I-
not a pat on the back, not a good
yeah,
job,
exactly.
son.
Not even like a
Nothing like that
good
whatsoever.
job.
Good job on
you
the
did
straight
great.
A's and the honor
that
roll.
We come on, that when you have reinforcements, that makes you want
But what
to do
happens
better.
when you're not able to continue that reinforcement?
You can't tell your kid good job.
We're not saying go.
I'm not.
Buy
I
him
didn't
a
say go buy your
car,
kid
you know.
something. I very clearly stated you don't have to buy your child something. But if your child is expected to do something and then does it, you do need to at least recognize that
That
your
they
child
did it.
did it, so
Exactly.
that your child has that feeling of accomplishment, so that your child has that feeling of
You don't have to
recognition.
go to the other extreme with it. Where
Correct. Where you go out and buy
You
your
know,
kid.
oh,
We're
we're-
taking a trip because you got good
No,
grades.
I understand
got
it
good
perfectly
grades,
because
so,
I know
yeah.
with my son, even in sports, everything like, I make you proud, mommy? That's
Exactly.
his main thing.
Kids need validation.
I make you proud. I make you proud. And as long as I give him his thumbs up when he's about to do something, he is
That's
fine
it.
with that.
Validation, but
He is
that's what
fine
we're
with that.
stating. But if I don't do that, and then when you do something bad, I'm right there first in line to discipline you, then I'm teaching you that I think
I
that's
only
also
expect bad things from you.
correct.
Mm.
Which
In
is
order
why
to show
then
my attention or
which is
my
why then
immediate-
again also this leads to low self-esteem.
You also may
because-
find kids in that situation acting out intentionally to
Just to
get,
get
negative
Right,
behavior.
because
Correct.
negative
If behavior-
negative attention is better than no attention.
And that's what I was just going to
Attention
get
is
into.
attention.
Sometimes then you kind of get used to that negative attention.
All right, I'm starting to feel good about myself because I don't feel
But
fit
I
in
told
in
you-
all.
okay.
I told you.
And
I
we told you
didn't.
this,
All right, I didn't feel bad before.
but we told you
It
that
was
you're
you guys
not.
trying to make me feel bad, but I didn't let you.
Yeah.
All right, you value discipline over fun. They are more likely to be nagging or yelling rather than playing with their kids. They want kids to behave in an orderly fashion and expect them to be seen and not heard most of the time. Now, kids are going to be kids. And like I said, we've been in church and my 2-year-old has made noise. And I get the
We get the stink eye from the little old
from
lady.
the little old lady that he's even said, well, ma'am, how is my child supposed to?
You
'Cause-
said something back
well,
to
because
her.
because the lady was like,
Of course.
your child shouldn't be here. and was
First of all,
basically
I'm not a
asking us
child
to
anymore.
leave.
I'm a grown man. I'm a combat veteran. And little old church ladies don't scare me anymore.
Right. And he said to her very politely, ma'am, how is my child supposed to learn to behave in church if she's not here? And just, I mean,
that's nice.
It was, and it was very
That's
polite.
good.
And we stayed. And then I got mad because they were like, well, you can go sit at the very back. And I was like, I don't think so.
No,
You know,
that's when she stopped talking to me. She started talking to them because we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere. We've heard what you have to say. Now you need to leave. You need to leave us alone.
And it's not that she was screaming, like, you know, because some churches.
No, she came over and tried to shame us.
Right, but it's not that our child
was it an usher
screaming.
or a regular?
No, it's a little, you know, we're Catholic. So at the Catholic Church, there's always, and every Catholic church has them, there's always a group of little blue-haired ladies, God bless them, who take care of the place. And because they do, they see themselves as some type of authority.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, she even went to speak to the priest, and the priest came out.
And the priest set her straight.
The priest was like, there is no church without children. Like, you know, no, they're staying.
Okay,
And
how did you feel when all this was
I felt
going on?
horrible. I was like, this is supposed to be a place where you're accepted and you're loved, and you're shaming me. And it's not even because I understand, okay, I have a screaming, crying baby. No, she was just making noise here and there, giggling here. You know, she doesn't know to say, mommy. She'd be like, mommy. You know, like, doesn't have that filter of volume control. So it wasn't that she was being disruptive and people couldn't, it would just be noise here and noise there. Yeah, I got very upset. And that, you know,
wow.
We you know, that,
we
we digressed there. No, but we digressed a little bit. But
so-
that's what the parents that expect the children are be seen and not heard. And you can't do that. Children, you know.
Yeah, back in
like
the day
I said,
when you could, you know, legally beat your kid down and use physical abuse to quiet them. Yeah, of course.
But no,
and
but
that's
even
what
here,
that's the thing.
fear.
This is an age different thing or
Right.
a generational thing, that these were the women who or the people who got their their knuckles wrapped by nuns,
Right. True
who
that.
got
Exactly.
paddled right there in the class in
Yeah.
front of everybody if they acted out.
True that.
It was a whole different
No,
way
my
of life.
7-year-old though does know that she's expected to. If she's got it, she whispers. She knows. You know,
she's old enough to already
But
understand.
yeah,
that
she's 7.
also.
She's not 2.
Exactly.
And this
but-
lady's issue was
with our
with the
2-year-old.
2-year-old.
So,
Anyway, we've gotten way off topic
Yeah,
here. Is
so-
any other
there's 2 more.
Two more. Hit
You
me.
have a lot of rules.
Lot of rules. There's rules.
So
for
permissive parents
everything.
have few rules to no rules.
Right. Uninvolved have no rules because they're not there.
Uninvolved have no
Basically, authoritarian are like micromanagers. They're hovering while they're doing their homework, or you're doing the dishes. I'm going to stand right behind you and make sure that you're cleaning that plate right before it goes in the
missed a spot.
dishwasher. Right.
Right. And here's the big thing. So not only are there additional rules, like we said, which are about safety and stuff like that in the home, but then there's also unwritten rules about how to do things right. So there's
Right.
always something that you're doing wrong,
Mhm.
and you need to be able to do it the way that I do it, because that is
My way or
my
the
way,
highway.
which is the right
There's
way.
the right way, the wrong way, and there's my way.
There you go.
Number 9, you don't trust your child to make good decisions. They have very interesting expectations
no,
of
they're
their
children.
children. And although they have high expectations, they don't allow for enough freedom for children to show that they can be trusted. There
Listen,
gets to a
kids,
point that
whatever little shiny thing comes along next that
Again,
grabs their attention.
age.
that's
Okay,
what
but
they're-
again, age is a big thing in what you're allowing them. Is your child able to make a decision to choose their outfit?
Yeah.
Can your child pick their shoes for today? Are you allowing them at least that freedom to be able to start thinking
Okay.
and
for
express
themselves?
their own
See, every time I think
individuality.
you're talking about me, you take it to some extreme where
That's what
Exactly.
it's
but
like,
that's
wait a
what
minute, I'm
happens.
off the hook.
That's
Now-
what
I don't do that.
That's
Now,
what
I've
I
had
do.
my children come with some crazy outfits that it's like, okay, well, we're just going to grandma's today, so I don't care.
Sure, why not?
But if we're doing something, I'll be like, oh, look at these 5 outfits.
That's
Which one
but
do
you're
you want?
still right. But
they're
even
still having that
right,
choice.
even if you put 3 on the, but
they
but
still
you
get to
pick
choose.
the one you
and-
want.
Right.
You know.
All right. And number 10, which I think
I
we
love
also
it. I love it.
you often
I
said
love it.
because I say so.
Because I said
That is
so.
the end of the discussion. The child has no opinion of why he disagrees or why he thinks the rules are unfair. So you see, you're not an authoritarian parent.
In my mind, I am.
Nah, you're not. You're not.
In my
All right.
mind.
So we will be back.
I'm not working hard enough.
You're not working hard enough. We'll be back. Stay tuned for more female perspective.
You're listening to 247 Miami.tv.
Hey, I'm Giancarlo Stan, and you're on 24/7 Miami.
Hello, everybody. George West here to tell you what you can expect on 247miami.tv. How about the 305 Nuts? My show, The George West Show, The Dirty Laundry, The Fantasy Frauds, Metal and Mayhem, plus the best DJs Miami has to offer. You can find it all right here on 247miami.tv, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Try to get a deal like that anywhere else. Afraid you just can't do it. Only here, 247miami.tv.
Calor y sabor aquí en 24/7 Miami.
This is Wilma Shakespeare
Anger.
And Disaster Chief.
from Miami's Vice City Rollers, inviting you to tune in to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv. New shows every Saturday at 9 p.m.
with encore replays Monday at noon and 10 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
And Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and again at 10 p.m.
Find out everything you've ever wanted to know about roller derby and the 305,
Get the 411 on the women's team
The men's team,
and even the juniors.
Rink Rash Radio.
Rink Rash Radio
Rink Rash Radio.
on 247miami.tv.
Mom, and you see one movie. It's called The Wedding Ringer.
Hey, I'm Kevin Hart.
And I'm Josh Gad.
And right now we're on 24/7 Miami.
You come on out and you see Wedding Ringer.
That's right.
And now back to the female perspective with your hosts, Barbie Bonder, Kathy Whitmire, and Arlene Thalan.
Welcome to the Female Perspective. Today we're discussing parenting. We just went over some of the signs that you may be an authoritarian parent.
And Arlene is not.
And Arlene is not.
You're kind of 50-50 with
I
those.
know. And I just have my mind set on being
Authoritarian?
yes.
Well, why don't you see about being authoritative?
On my next child.
Your next
Oh,
child.
boy.
That's right. The
My
girl
next
that's
This
child.
next
coming.
kid doesn't know what they're in for.
Yeah, hello.
It's going to
No,
be like
no,
the
no,
Great
but-
Santini.
We've actually kind of covered and we saved the best for
We saved
last.
it. We did.
Like this is really the ideal style of parenting. They have rules, but they allow some exceptions to the
A
rules.
little flexibility.
A little
A
flexibility.
little understanding.
They explain the reasons for the rules, and they're more willing to consider the child's feelings when setting limits.
Okay, does this count when you're getting a beating and they're trying to explain in between the beating
No.
why you're getting it?
There won't be. They use more consequences instead of punishments.
Okay.
And remember, all good actions have good consequences. All bad actions, and so this teaches the child that okay, I'm going to make a decision, but I need to make sure I'm making the right decision, or else the outcome is
And
not
it kind
going
of
to be
preps
favorable.
you, and it preps you for life because
It
let's be
does.
realistic. That is how life
Treats you,
goes.
yeah.
You know? You decide to go out the night before you have a big important
Meeting or
presentation. Maybe you're not going to get that promotion if you should have gone to bed, but that's part of life, is making
win
mistakes and
some and you
learning
lose some.
from them. It's
Yep.
learning from your mistakes.
So they use more positive consequences also to reinforce good behaviors. So, like reward systems,
Right.
like we said, praise.
Praise is
Praise is a big thing. Children want to know that they're doing good. Children
Mhm.
want to, I'm sorry, am I putting you to sleep there?
No,
No, I
sometimes
was just thinking that
No, not you. My friend
Praise-
over here. My friend over
could
here.
praise be, I was planning on beating you, but you did the right thing, so I'm not. I thought I was going to have to beat you. I was like preparing myself to have to inflict pain on you, who I love, child. And it hurts me more than it hurts you. You'll never know. But
I
now, because you
hate
did the
that.
right thing,
Please explain that.
you get to be beaten free. I mean,
Explain
It
how
sounds
Really?
like our
more-
children are
explain
beaten
how
so
that hurts you
often. I
more
know,
than it
it's
hurts
horrible.
I don't want to hurt my kids.
DCF, please don't.
I don't
come
want to
for us.
have to spank them. I don't want to have to cause them pain. That's the exact opposite of what I want to do as a parent. So yeah, when I have to discipline
Swat
them
'em on the
physically,
diaper.
swat them on the butt, I don't want to do that. It
But you
doesn't
do
make
it.
me feel good to do that. And this is something that long after you've gotten over crying and all this, that, and the other thing, I'm going to have to deal with the guilt and the social crap and all this other stuff. With the only way to get you to pick up your room was to put 3 across your backside. So yeah, it's going to hurt me a hell of a lot more than it's going to
That's
hurt
when he
you.
explain things. He make it seem like I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to
I'm
do
gonna-
it.
it hurts
and
me
you're
more.
going to
Yes, no.
understand why.
So like we said, one of the big things for children is they want acceptance. Think about it. When you're a child, what do you want to know? You want to know that you're doing a good job. You want to know that
you're loved, that you're
You want to
special.
know.
But you have to understand. I think kids really understand the value of, I know mom only doing this because she loves me. If she let me keep getting away with this, she probably really don't.
It depends. There's an
at
age
a certain
because,
age.
Yeah, at a certain age
I think
because
they do.
Remember, no, at a
they're gonna
certain
want to get
age.
away with it
Because
They're-
remember something, your brain, how your brain forms and how your brain develops, it takes a time for you to be able to get out of like that concrete thinking and start being more.
What
about Piaget?
His 4 stages of development?
I would
No,
need to refer- no,
no,
Piaget,
that's not
no.
Piaget.
No.
Eric Erickson has the 7 life stages.
8.
Right.
8.
No. Yeah, the industrialism versus
Yeah, the
whatever.
nature
Shame and
versus
guilt.
nurture.
Okay, you're
Okay,
getting over the heads of the
All right,
common man.
okay,
So
no,
sorry.
she did
Okay,
it.
so
My
let's
bad.
go back.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's go back to authoritative
straight.
parenting. So authoritative parenting, in a sense, kind of takes a little bit from the authoritarian parent.
That there's still
You know,
rules.
there's still rules,
But we're gonna talk about
but
the
we
rules.
talk about the rules.
I'm gonna tell you, don't put your hand on the burner because you're gonna hurt yourself, and then you won't be able to pick up things, and it's gonna hurt. You're gonna cry.
And then hipster dad says, "Now, if you feel that you really need to burn yourself so that you can learn,
No, that's
I'm just
permissive.
gonna
I'm standing
No,
by
I'm
here with
gonna give you-
that would
antibiotic
be
I'm
the
gonna
cream."
give you a little
permissive.
rope. I'm gonna give you a
That
little
would be
rope.
the permissive. Well, let's do it. Let's do it and see what it feels like.
No,
you know?
it's. I told you that you don't want to do this, but if you really feel that you need to,
That would be
burn your hand.
Or
authoritative.
that type of parent that gets flesh-like material and goes out in the backyard and stimulates something burning with the material. Let it burn.
oh yeah, just
Okay.
take a chicken thigh out there.
There you go. Well,
I never
children-
thought of that. Totally putting that in the bag of tricks. already. Totes my goats.
But it's authoritative is not as strict, is not as black and white
Right.
as authoritarian.
They have the gray
parent.
You have
area.
a lot of gray
You,
areas.
you still have structure, you still have discipline. However, you get praise
And you have flexibility.
flexibility. I'm able to talk about my feelings. I can
Guess,
make certain decisions based on my age. Obviously, I'm not going
Right.
to be 4 years old, and I'm going to be planning.
Right. But you know what? Authoritative parents would be like, okay, bedtime is at 8:00, but guess what? It's Friday. Stay up till 9 today. Or we're
You're
on
the
vacation.
best mom. You're the
You know,
best.
we're at Disney. We're not going to be running back to the room at 7:00. We're going to stay up until midnight today or New Year's Eve or something, you know?
But you also use that as a form of a reward.
Yes,
of course
yeah,
Disney's
of
a
Yeah, how'd
course,
they
yeah,
get to
yeah,
Disney in the first place?
yeah. you-
Disney-
Because
These are
I
reward.
can't think of a parent that's out there. It's just, well, no, that's not true because a lot of parents are crazy and actually sign up for the lines and the expensiveness. Yes,
In the summer
I'm
heat.
married to one,
And yes, I'll go and melt over there. but
and I
still
waited,
to be there.
and I don't go.
No, you stay here.
I
and
stay at home.
Miss us while we go. And
I
You know
do.
what
I miss
love?
you
I
crazy.
love the fact that even though you have the 4 styles of parenting, you rarely find a family that has the same parenting style with both parents.
So is that it?
Right.
That you're looking
No.
for the right combo of parenting styles, so
No,
that
just
you
saying
can
like if
No,
I'm a-
you can
I
take a
mean-
little from one and a little from the other, and a little from the other, and
Can
I
you
think
find-
even
can both
even the
parents be the
uninvolved
same?
parents have something to offer in that. You
no,
know,
not really. No, the uninvolved parents have nothing to offer.
But the other three, so you want to take from
No,
column
but I'm
A,
just
I
saying,
wouldn't.
do
I
both
wouldn't take
parents-
from. I mean,
a little bit from
permissive-
each one,
I would take a
Prob-
little
yeah.
from permissive.
Well, not
and
from
not-
each
Isn't that the
one.
point?
Not from each one. Not from
a
uninvolved.
little from the first three, and
Right.
uninvolved is the neglectful parent.
Right. We don't want those.
You know, but you
That's-
kind of do want to be able to
talk to them
talk
and
to
be open
them
and be
open. I
friendly.
mean, we're not going to sit and talk about everything. I don't want to know every single
Right.
detail. I'm not your best friend.
Okay, so let's recap.
So
What was the worst one?
Uninvolved.
Okay, and that is the parent that just
Not
you know,
there. Just
Not there.
simply not there.
you know,
No
a
concern.
sperm donor
Pretty
or
much.
a,
And I'm still
a
there.
baby incubator.
Yeah.
Okay.
drug addict.
gave birth and I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, so for whatever reason, they're dealing with their own crap, and
Right.
that's
Right,
too much for
exactly.
them to deal with to actually be able to take care of
Right.
the child.
Exactly. Next we
Okay.
spoke permissive. Hardly any discipline. It's not like they're uninvolved. They're
These
still
are
there.
hipster hippie
I'm your
hippie
friend.
parents.
I'm your
yeah,
friend.
I'm
We're
your
friends.
friend. Kids will be kids. It's okay. Let them do that.
It's okay.
That's that. Yeah, it's okay. Then we spoke about authoritarian, which is
The other-
rules are
the other
rules.
extreme.
Yeah.
Control.
So from one extreme to the
One
other.
extreme to the other, and then in the middle, I think
Is
would be the authoritative
The
because
authoritative parents. So,
we
so
have
that's
our
the one we're
rules.
shooting for.
That's the
That's
one
the one
that
we're shooting for.
we should shoot for because you have your rules, but yet you still have your flexibility. The children are not just there to be, not seen and not heard. They still have a voice in the family. Again,
So if you're an
keep in mind-
authoritative parent or you're a neglectful parent and you want to improve, you want to get better, is there resources out there that you guys can recommend?
Yes, you can
besides-
contact us.
at 786-565-4757.
Shameless plug.
Yes. But no,
But it is
Again,
possible to
there's
change.
no-
It's possible to change parenting styles. I mean,
I think you would
Absolutely.
need
could
to
go,
do a
'cause I
lot
want to say
of.
your first child is like I love to say your first child is your experimental child. It's like a lot
Well,
of trial and error.
It's
You
true.
find out what
Just
works and what
even-
don't work.
Just even with the pacifiers, I remember with the first one, it'd be like, she dropped the pacifier. I must sterilize it. I must boil it. I have my stack of 5. The second
By
one
the
is
time you
like,
get to
oh,
third kid, it's got any hair on it?
second one, it's like, okay, well, let me just wipe it off. The third one, here you go. It's fine. A little germs won't kill you.
You're building
So
the
you-
immune
you-
system.
Yeah.
So
So, we
let's-
we
so
do
let's-
learn as we go. But again, like we said, there is no manual for being a parent. I think it takes a lot of self
$1 million idea.
insight. Oops.
So because of that, authoritative parents, the children that are raised with authoritative parents, they tend to be more happy,
Mhm.
more successful.
They're
You know,
good at decision making. They can evaluate risks and
Critical
know.
think.
Right.
they're responsible. They're also comfortable expressing their opinions. You know, self-esteem, unlike authoritarian parents, you do have self-esteem. You do trust your instincts. You are able to value yourself because
Mhm.
you were valued as a child.
Exactly.
So
So you know
you-
that your opinion matters.
Right. Your opinion
have a
matters. Your feelings
voice.
matter. So thank you so much for joining us. This is The Female Perspective. We invite you to go on Facebook, add us at The Female Perspective. Let us know what you think. Let us know anything that you would like to hear us discuss in the future.
Remember, we're also on the 24/7 Miami YouTube channel. So take a peek and don't forget to tune in on www.247miami TV to listen to us tonight at 8 o'clock.
And we're also on Twitter and Periscope if you have that new
Mhm.
item right now. And we would love to hear what you have to say.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Cause you know it don't